Chapter 2574. Mo Lin wanted to kill Lin Yun and her companions at all costs. Unfortunately, Lin Yun did not given the chance to do so. Before the experts from the Great Devil World arrived, Lin Yun had already retreated with her companions. Mo Lin wanted to kill Lin Yun and her companions at all costs. Unfortunately, Lin Yun did not given the chance to do so. Before the experts from the Great Devil World arrived, Lin Yun had already retreated with her companions. There were advantages to having fewer people, especially when Lin Yun and her companions were experts of the Ancestor Realm. They could come and go freely, and they could fight or retreat. On the other hand, although Mo Lin and his companions had an absolute advantage in numbers, they could not catch up with Lin Yun and her companions at all. Of course, Mo Lin did not expect Lin Yun to retreat so quickly without any hesitation. From what Mo Lin knew, Lin Yun was obviously not a person who would retreat. This was because Lin Yun was domineering and unforgiving. How could such a person retreat? However, after this incident, Mo Lin would have a deeper understanding of Lin Yun. Lin Yun was indeed domineering and unforgiving. However, this did not prove that Lin Yun was a rash person who would fight to the death. On the contrary, Lin Yun was a person who did not play by the rules. As expected, Li Tian's formation did not trap Mo Lin and his companions for long. After about 10 breaths, the formation was forcibly broken by Mo Lin. However, after the formation was broken, Mo Lin glanced around and Lin Yun and her companions were nowhere to be seen. In just 10 breaths, Lin Yun and her companions had already disappeared. Looking at the mess in the starry sky, which was full of space cracks, Mo Lin's face was extremely gloomy. He cursed Lin Yun in his heart for being shameless. A reckless person who was not afraid of death was not scary, because there were many ways to kill him. He thought that Lin Yun was such a reckless person, but in fact, Lin Yun was not. People who could advance or retreat were the most difficult to deal with, especially people like Lin Yun, who did not feel ashamed of escaping at all. It was simply maddening, just like Mo Lin now. If you fought him alone, you could not do anything to him, and you might even suffer a little. However, if you asked someone to surround and kill him, he would not give you a chance at all. He could fight or retreat. Anyway, there were not many people, so he would fight with you. Since you had many people, no problem, he would leave. It could be said that Mo Lin was now in a dilemma. However, no matter what, he obviously could not ignore Lin Yun and her companions. After all, this was the Great Devil World. If he allowed Lin Yun and her companions to fool around, how could Mo Lin, the master of the world, keep his face? Mo Lin suppressed the anger in his heart and shouted coldly, "Find them. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find them for me." The anger in Mo Lin's heart continued to rise. On the other side, Lin Yun and her companions, who had successfully escaped, were sitting leisurely on the spatial spirit boat. They were drinking and moving forward aimlessly. They did not have a clear goal. Anyway, in the Great Devil World, their task was to fool around and turn the world upside down. Hence, wherever they went, they would cause trouble. This was the idea of Lin Yun and her companions. After confirming a direction, they traveled quickly in the starry sky. In the cabin, they were drinking and chatting. They were not nervous about the battle just now. Haha, this is exciting. I haven't done something like this for a long time. The monk took a big gulp of wine and laughed loudly. With the flowery monk's character, he was always eager to see the world in chaos. Now that he could make such a scene in the Great Devil World, it was as if he had set himself free. Not only the monk, but the others were also the same. Even Xiao Chun, who was beside him, had an excited smile on his face. He did not feel anything during the battle just now. However, at this time, Xiao Chun also found it really exciting. It was indeed very exciting to follow Lin Yun and make a scene in the Great Devil World. Of course, this matter could only be done with Lin Yun in charge. After all, if no one stopped Mo Lin, everyone would not be able to escape. They would probably be killed directly. Hence, it was necessary for Lin Yun to lead the team. Everyone was in an extremely good mood. In this regard, Lin Yun's smile did not diminish. After flying in the starry sky for about half a day, everyone finally saw a continent. This continent was different from the previous one. This continent was very large. Even in the Great Devil world, it was probably one of the top continents. Without any hesitation, everyone drove the spatial spirit boat directly into this continent. Compared to other universes, the great demonic world was dominated by demonic cultivators, so the spiritual chi of heaven and earth was indeed somewhat mixed. However, this had nothing to do with Lin Yun and the others. After entering this continent, Lin Yun put away the spatial spirit boat. Everyone also came to a small city. They did not care what this small city was called at all. Anyway, they were here to make trouble. Strolling in the heavy atmosphere, the customs of the great devil world were very fierce. Even in the city, there were fights everywhere. Even if there was a disagreement, they would fight. Demon cultivators worshipped strength. There were not many rules, and everything depended on strength. Hence, in the great devil world, fights were almost everywhere. It could be described as unscrupulous. Along the way, the Taoist said, "Why don't we destroy this city?" He had completely let it go. Regarding this, no one objected. But at this moment, the tyrant suddenly heard a few people chatting at the side. "I heard that the young sect master of the heavenly demon sect is getting married tomorrow. This is a grand occasion, isn't it? With the status of the heavenly demon sect, there will probably be a lot of people attending the young sect master's wedding. Those who are reputable will definitely attend tomorrow." Upon hearing this, the tyrant's interest was piqued. He gestured for them to calm down. Then, he took the initiative to walk toward the few people and bowed solemnly. "Benefactors, this poor monk greets all of you." A monk? Hearing this, the few people looked at the tyrant strangely. It was not that there were no monks in the great devil world, but there were very few of them. After sizing up the tyrant, one of them said snappily, "Where did this stinky monk come from? If you have something to say, just say it." All of them had an impatient look on their faces. Tyrant didn't care about it at all and asked about the heavenly demon sect. However, these people obviously didn't have the intention to answer him. Some of them even cursed out loud. Scram, scram, scram. They were not in a mood to talk to the tyrant at all. Seeing this, the tyrant narrowed his eyes and sneered. "In that case, this poor monk will offend you." "Oh, stinky monk, you want to fight?" Hearing this, someone said. But soon, the few people regretted it. Because the tyrant's aura had locked onto them, they could not move at all. They could only stare at the smiling tyrant, not knowing what he wanted to do. Please collect, vote, recommend. Chapter 2575. These people were not even in the immortal emperor realm. They couldn't even withstand a strand of tyrant's aura. Being locked down by tyrant's aura, they were instantly suppressed. They couldn't even move a finger. These people were not even in the immortal emperor realm. They couldn't even withstand a strand of tyrant's aura. Being locked down by tyrant's aura, they were instantly suppressed. They couldn't even move a finger. He easily took control of these people and brought them to a small alley with 5 people. After a series of interrogation, the monk finally got the answer he wanted. According to them, the continent they were on was called the Heavenly Demon Continent, and the Heavenly Demon Sect was the overlord of the Heavenly Demon Continent. There was a half-step ancestor realm expert in the sect. Even in the great demon world, the Heavenly Demon Sect strength was enough to be ranked in the top 10. Of course, it was still incomparable to the demon abyss. The Heavenly Demon Sect was very powerful, and tomorrow was the wedding day of the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect. It was said that many experts in the Heavenly Demon Continent would personally come to congratulate him. Tyrant immediately revealed a sly smile when he heard the news. He looked at everyone and said, "The Heavenly Demon Sect is interesting. What do you think?" Everyone naturally guessed what Tyrant meant. As the largest sect in the Heavenly Demon Continent, it was naturally the best choice to attack the Heavenly Demon Sect. Moreover, tomorrow was the wedding day of the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect. Many experts in the Heavenly Demon Continent would come to congratulate him. Anyway, everyone's purpose was to destroy. There was no pressure to destroy the Heavenly Demon Sect. Everyone's eyes fell on Lin Yun. After all, the final decision was still up to Lin Yun. Lin Yun smiled and nodded in the face of everyone's gaze. She said, "Let's go to the Heavenly Demon Sect tomorrow and personally congratulate the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect." Mo Lin was definitely looking for them. However, they did not care too much about it. They would deal with the Heavenly Demon Sect tomorrow first. Although the Heavenly Demon Sect had a half-step Ancestor Realm expert, in the eyes of Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others, it was not enough. A half-step Ancestor Realm expert was too weak. They rested in the city for a night. Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others did not even have the intention to attack. It was not a big deal, and the Heavenly Demon Sect was more attractive. The night was silent. The next day, the Heavenly Demon Sect, which was thousands of miles away. The sky had just of the Heavenly Demon Sect. The entire sect was decorated with lanterns and decorations. It was a lively scene. Many disciples of the Heavenly Demon Sect were busy preparing for the wedding of the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect. As the future successor of the Heavenly Demon Sect, the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect could be said to be the top second generation of the Heavenly Demon Continent. He was arrogant and temperamental. However, he had a high status, and no one in the Heavenly Demon Continent dared to offend him. Today was the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect's young master's wedding, and the Heavenly Demon Sect naturally placed great importance on it. At the same time, in a cave of the Heavenly Demon Sect, a young man in a red robe was sitting in the courtyard and drinking tea in boredom. This person was the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect. He had end-realm cultivation and was considered a genius among the younger generation of the Heavenly Demon Continent. He gave off a cold feeling. Although it was his wedding day and the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect had a faint smile on his face, the smile gave off an uncomfortable feeling. After drinking a sip of tea, the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect asked a disciple in front of him, "How are the preparations?" "Young master, don't worry. Everything is prepared. There will definitely not be any leaks," the disciple replied respectfully. The young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect nodded his head slightly. "That's good. Also, what about the people who came to congratulate you? Have they arrived?" "There are people arriving one after another." Everyone in the Heavenly Demon Sect was busy preparing for their young master's wedding. As time went on, experts from the Heavenly Demon Continent arrived one after another. When noon arrived, the sect master of the Heavenly Demon Sect personally came out to welcome some of them. The Heavenly Demon Sect was the overlord of the Heavenly Demon Continent, but there were still some sects and experts that the Heavenly Demon Sect paid attention to. Thus, the sect leader of the Heavenly Demon Sect personally came out to welcome these people. The entire Heavenly Demon Sect could be said to be bustling. In the bride's room, the bride was preparing, bathing, changing clothes, and a series of other things. The woman that the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect was marrying was the eldest daughter of a large family. Her status was also very high. The marriage of the two could be seen as the alliance of the two powers. Like the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect, the girl was a temperamental person. In just a short period of time, the girl had already killed 4 or 5 people because she was dissatisfied with her appearance. These people were all maids in charge of serving the girl, but they had been killed over such a small matter. The wedding finally began on time in the main hall of the Heavenly Demon Sect in the evening. Many experts from the Heavenly Demon Continent gathered in the main hall. The sect leader of the Heavenly Demon Sect sat on the main seat, and a middle-aged man sat beside him. Looking at the extraordinarily lively Heavenly Demon Sect today, the two of them could not hide the smiles on their faces. A smile hung at the corners of their mouths. Following a shout, the bride and groom entered, pushing the atmosphere to a climax. Seeing the newlyweds enter the main hall, everyone congratulated them. However, at this moment, an extremely untimely voice rang out from outside the hall. "TSK, TSK, this is the wedding of the young master of the Heavenly Demon Sect? Isn't it a little too chilly?" When this voice rang out, everyone's expression changed slightly. The sect leader of the Heavenly Demon Sect on the main seat had a solemn expression, and then he looked coldly outside the hall. Under everyone's gaze, Lin Yun and the others slowly walked into the main hall. Of course, There were many disciples and elders of the heavenly demon sect behind them, glaring angrily as if they wanted to pounce on them and tear them apart. However, facing so many unfriendly gazes, Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others did not have any intention of paying attention to them as they walked into the main hall. Seeing this, the sect leader of the heavenly demon sect said coldly, "These few friends don't seem to be invited by my heavenly demon sect, right?" As the overlord of the heavenly demon continent, the wedding of the young master of the heavenly demon sect was naturally not something that just anyone could attend. Without sufficient status, they could not even enter the door. Lin Yun and the others were clearly the kind of people who came uninvited. Regarding this, the sect leader of the heavenly demon sect's expression naturally did not look too good. Hearing this, Lin Yun, who was in the lead, chuckled softly. "Indeed, we are not invited. However, we are really here to congratulate you." "Why? The heavenly demon sect does not welcome us?" Hearing Lin Yun's words, the young master of the heavenly demon sect said coldly, his eyes filled with contempt, "My heavenly demon sect does not welcome you. Who do you think you are? Men, take them down and lock them in the dungeon. I will deal with them tomorrow." Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2576. Today was his big day, so the young master of the heavenly demon sect naturally did not want anyone to ruin it. Therefore, he was too lazy to talk nonsense with Lin Yun and the others. He directly ordered his men to capture a few of them and wait for him to deal with them tomorrow. However, when the time came, he would definitely make Lin Yun and the others suffer a fate worse than death. Today was his big day, so the young master of the heavenly demon sect naturally did not want anyone to ruin it. Therefore, he was too lazy to talk nonsense with Lin Yun and the others. He directly ordered his men to capture a few of them and wait for him to deal with them tomorrow. However, when the time came, he would definitely make Lin Yun and the others suffer a fate worse than death. As the young master of the heavenly demon sect finished speaking, the group of heavenly demon sect disciples outside the hall attacked together, wanting to capture Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others. Unfortunately, they could not even get close to the crowd and were directly crushed by the aura of the crowd. Everyone was at the progenitor stage, and even Xiao Chen's current aura was not inferior to that of a true progenitor stage expert. In this way, how could these ordinary disciples be a threat to them? Seeing the heavenly demon sect disciples explode and turn into clouds of blood mist, the expressions of everyone present changed drastically. The sect master of the heavenly demon sect, who was sitting on a main seat, suddenly stood up and said with an expression as if he had seen a ghost, "Progenitor stage expert." At this point, if the sect master of the heavenly demon sect still could not see the cultivation of Lin Yun and the others, then he should buy a piece of tofu and kill himself. All of them were progenitor stage experts. For a moment, the sect master of the heavenly demon sect was stunned on the spot. He never thought that Lin Yun and the others would be so strong. At the same time, after being shocked, the sect master of the heavenly demon sect finally guessed the identity of Lin Yun and the others. His eyes were filled with deep fear as he said, "You are from the cloud palace of the great world?" In the great devil world, only the devil abyss had ancestor realm experts, and any ancestor realm expert could be said to be of famous existence. However, Lin Yun and the others were extremely unfamiliar. In this way, it could be determined that they were not from the great devil world. Today, news of Lin Yun from the Cloud Palace had spread like wildfire in the great devil world. Furthermore, the heavenly devil sect had also received orders to search for traces of Lin Yun and the others in the heavenly devil continent. Unfortunately, they had not found anything. They originally thought that Lin Yun and the others were not in the heavenly demon continent, but who would have thought that they would be standing in front of them at this moment? Upon hearing the heavenly fiend sect master's words, Lin Yun chuckled softly and said, "He's still quite foolish." Lin Yun's words were considered to have admitted her identity. In this regard, everyone present was ashen-faced. The Cloud Palace experts and the leader, Lin Yun, was in existence at the same level as Mo Lin. She was a world lord who dominated the universe. As for the purpose of Lin Yun and the others' arrival, no one guessed. However, even if they used their toes to think, they knew that Lin Yun and the others definitely did not come with good intentions. Not knowing how to deal with the current situation, the Heavenly Devil Sect Master could only stare blankly at Lin Yun and the others. He fell into silence. He wanted to beg for mercy, but he could not. Moreover, even if he begged for mercy, would Lin Yun and the others let him go? As an ancient martial art practitioner from the Great Devil World and the sect master of the Heavenly Devil Sect, if he begged for mercy, even if he did not die, the Heavenly Devil Sect would definitely not have a good ending when Mo Lin found out. As for resisting, that was even more impossible. A world lord and 7 ancestor realm powerhouses, this wasn't something the Heavenly Demon Sect could contend against. Even the demonic abyss couldn't do anything to them. With the strength of Lin Yun and the others, if they wanted to destroy the Heavenly Devil Sect, it was just a matter of moving their fingers. It was simply too easy. Originally, it was a joyous day for the entire sect. However, in the blink of an eye, everyone present fell from heaven to hell. Seeing that the sect master of the Heavenly Devil Sect did not speak, Lin Yun lost interest and said faintly, "Let's do it." As her voice fell, the monk, Taoist priest, Lin Hu, and the others instantly attacked. In an instant, the entire Heavenly Devil Sect became a purgatory on earth. The many disciples of the Heavenly Devil Sect did not have the slightest ability to fight back in the hands of the monk and Taoist priest. There was simply no way for them to escape. Countless buildings collapsed, and screams rose one after another. Even the main hall was directly overturned by the monk and Taoist priest. Xiao Chun did not make a move. He had been quietly standing beside Lin Yun. Xiao Chun did not have any desire to deal with these people. With Xiao Chun's current strength, he alone was enough to destroy a sect at the level of the Heavenly Devil Sect. He did not show any mercy. Hearing the screams around them, the young master of the Heavenly Devil Sect and his wife were stunned on the spot with pale faces. The sect master of the Heavenly Devil Sect even shouted angrily, "Lin Yun, you are also a world lord. Aren't you afraid of the wrath of the people by killing innocent people indiscriminately?" It was indeed not a good thing for a world lord to slaughter living beings. However, after hearing the sect master of the Heavenly Devil Sect's words, Lin Yun said indifferently, "Are you people considered innocent?" From Lin Yun's point of view, the Heavenly Devil Sect was naturally not innocent. Not for other reasons, but because the Heavenly Devil Sect was a force in the Great Devil World, it was destined to be a mortal enemy with the macro world. In other words, if Mo Lin brought people to kill in the macro world, would he possibly show mercy to the various forces in the macro world? The answer was obviously impossible. The two parties were mortal enemies. Hence, there was no such thing as innocent or not innocent. Each of them had their own camp. Moreover, the Great Devil World and the macro world were not on good terms. One side was a righteous martial artist, and the other side was a demon martial artist. This was an irreconcilable contradiction and conflict. Moreover, the hands of the people in the Heavenly Devil Sect were stained with blood. Heavenly Devil Sect had once killed many people and destroyed many sections. To put it bluntly, it was just a cycle of karma and retribution. It was not considered killing innocent people indiscriminately. Seeing that Lin Yun was completely unmoved, the sect master of the Heavenly Devil Sect's face darkened. He knew that he was no match for Lin Yun. However, as the sect master, he could not watch his sect's disciples being slaughtered without doing anything. It could be said that he was courting death. The sect master of the Heavenly Devil Sect actually took the initiative to attack Lin Yun. The sect master of the Heavenly Devil Sect had a cultivation of the half-step progenitor realm. However, in the face of his attack, Lin Yun did not attack. Instead, Xiao Chun, who was standing by the side, took a step forward and stood in front of Lin Yun. He pointed at the sect master of the Heavenly Devil Sect. A blood-red finger flashed past. The sect master of the Heavenly Devil Sect did not even have time to react before he was killed on the spot. The half-step progenitor realm, the strongest person in the Heavenly Devil Sect, was killed by a finger in front of everyone present. Moreover, he did not even have the ability to resist. Following the death of the sect master of the Heavenly Devil sect, everyone present was stunned, and their hearts were filled with despair. They could not see the slightest chance of survival. Even begging for mercy was impossible. The young sect master of the Heavenly Devil sect turned pale when he saw his father die. At this moment, Lin Yun looked at the people present and said with a smile, "You can send a message to the people in the demon abyss. At the same time, pass on a message to Mo Lin for me. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations." Chapter 2577. Lin Yun gestured to the people present to send a message to Mo Lin. In fact, these people had already contacted the demon abyss secretly without Xiao Chen's instructions, hoping that the experts from the demon abyss would come as soon as possible. From the beginning to the end, Lin Yun had seen everything, but she had no intention of stopping them. Lin Yun gestured to the people present to send a message to Mo Lin. In fact, these people had already contacted the demon abyss secretly without Xiao Chen's instructions, hoping that the experts from the demon abyss would come as soon as possible. From the beginning to the end, Lin Yun had seen everything, but she had no intention of stopping them. Many of the people present had contacted the demon abyss secretly. Of course, with their status, it was naturally impossible for them to contact Mo Lin directly. However, Mo Lin, who was tens of thousands of miles away, received the news at this time. A huge black palace was speeding through the starry sky, and Mo Lin was in the palace at this time. Mo Lin did not return to the demon abyss. He had been searching for Lin Yun and the others. At this time, when he heard that Lin Yun had appeared in the Heavenly Devil continent and had brought people to destroy the Heavenly Devil sect, Mo Lin's face turned gloomy. It was not because the Heavenly Devil sect was important. Although the Heavenly Devil sect was second only to the demon abyss in the great devil world, as long as the demon abyss did not fall, it did not matter if the Heavenly Devil sect was destroyed. Mo Lin did not care too much. What really made Mo Lin angry was that Lin Yun did not run away directly. It was as if she had gone directly to the Heavenly Devil continent. "Lin Yun, do you really think that I can't do anything to you?" Mo Lin, who was sitting on the main seat, said coldly. At the same time, the ancestor of the demon abyss who was standing below Mo Lin received a message from the Heavenly Devil sect again. After knowing the content of the message, the ancestor of the demon abyss's face changed slightly and a hint of hesitation flashed across his face. Sensing the change in the person, Mo Lin also saw that the voice transmission talisman had entered the person's mind. He then asked in a deep voice, "What is it? Just say it." Mo Lin guessed that the message might have come from the Heavenly Demonic sect and knew that it was definitely not something good. Otherwise, the expert from the demon abyss would not be so hesitant. In the face of Mo Lin's question, the demon abyss expert was silent for a moment. Then, he braced himself and said, It's Lin Yun. He asked Sect Master to mind your own business. Otherwise, he would definitely turn the great devil world upside down. If Sect Master is obedient, he will consider letting Sect Master go." It was a message from Lin Yun. Upon hearing this, the veins on Mo Lin's forehead bulged. Let him go? Who did Lin Yun think she was? As the Lord of the Abyss and the Lord of the great devil world, do I, Mo Lin, need others to spare me? The devil chi around him was surging, and a terrifying power swept through the entire hall. In the face of the furious Mo Lin, the experts from the demon abyss turned pale. They could tell that Mo Lin was really angry. In the face of Lin Yun's continuous provocation and contempt, Mo Lin's anger had already reached a boiling point. This time, Lin Yun directly sent a message to Mo Lin shamelessly, asking him to mind his own business. He even said that he would let Mo Lin go. This was a naked humiliation to Mo Lin. With a slight force, the chair under Mo Lin was directly crushed into powder. Then Mo Lin stood up and looked at everyone present coldly. "Seal the Heavenly Demonic continent. No one is allowed to enter or leave." This time, Even if the entire heavenly demonic continent is the price, I swear to kill Lin Yun. Mo Lin's murderous intent sent chills down everyone's spines. However, upon hearing his words, everyone's faces changed drastically. How could they not understand what Mo Lin meant? He would not hesitate to destroy the entire heavenly demonic continent to kill Lin Yun and the others. It should be known that the heavenly demonic continent was not a small continent. It was one of the few main continents in the great devil world. If the heavenly demonic continent was destroyed, it would be a great blow to the great devil world. Although it would not be fatal, the pain would be unavoidable. Even so, Mo Lin did not hesitate at all. In his opinion, as long as he could kill Lin Yun, he could bear the price of destroying the entire heavenly demonic continent. Everyone wanted to persuade Mo Lin. After all, this was a serious matter. However, looking at Mo Lin's extremely gloomy face, they had no choice but to swallow their words. Given Mo Lin's current situation, if anyone dared to stop him, they would not end up well. Everyone knew Mo Lin's character very well, so no one dared to object. One by one, they bowed and went to make preparations. Mo Lin rushed to the heavenly demonic continent immediately. This time, he had to kill Lin Yun and the others in the heavenly demonic continent. Lin Yun had completely infuriated Mo Lin. However, he did not care about it all. At this time, the heavenly demonic sect had been completely massacred. The sect master, young sect master, and the disciples were all dead. At this time, Xiao Chun, Lin Yun, and the others came to the heavenly demonic sect's treasury. As the overlord of the heavenly demonic continent, the heavenly demonic sect was indeed very rich. Many treasures were kept in the treasury. However, in the eyes of Lin Yun and the others, ordinary treasures naturally did not interest them. After a round of looting, they only took some spiritual fruits and elixirs. Of course, the monk and the Taoist priest did not refuse any of the treasures. They directly emptied the treasury of the heavenly demonic sect. Lin Yun and the others did not stop the monk and the Taoist priest's actions. These two monks were not only lustful, but also greedy. Although these treasures did not interest them, if they were to sell them, they would be able to make a fortune. With such a character, the monk and the Taoist priest naturally would not give up such an opportunity. After looting the treasury of the heavenly demonic sect, the monk and the Taoist priest still wanted to continue and said, "Palace Master, why don't we go to other places?" Looking at the two fellows' shining eyes, Lin Yun smiled bitterly. These two fellows were simply bandits. They had just looted the heavenly demonic sect, but these two fellows were still not satisfied. They still wanted to go to other places. Although they said that they were going to take a walk, their intentions were obvious. After scolding them jokingly, Lin Yun did not refuse. Immediately after, the group left the heavenly demonic sect and continued on to their next target. Lin Yun guessed that Mo Lin must be on his way to the heavenly demonic continent. However, Lin Yun did not have the slightest intention of leaving. This was because Lin Yun's initial intention was very simple, which was to lure Mo Lin over. Along the way, Lin Yun ignored the excited monk and the Taoist priest. Instead, she walked side by side with Xiao Chun and Li Tian with a faint smile on her face. Lin Yun asked Li Tian, who was beside her, "Do you think Mo Lin is furious now?" "I think so. However, he will definitely kill us at all costs. He will even give up the entire heavenly demonic continent. I estimate that it will not be long before the heavenly demonic continent is completely sealed by the array. When that time comes, no one will be able to enter or leave. Mo Lin will be like a turtle in a jar." Hearing this, Li Tian replied faintly. His words seemed to have seen through Mo Lin's thoughts. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2578. Li Tian's voice was soft, which seemed to be Li Tian's style all along. Regardless of the time, Li Tian was like a person who did not know how to be nervous. Moreover, Li Tian's voice seemed to have a magical power that could make people relax unconsciously. Li Tian's voice was soft, which seemed to be Li Tian's style all along. Regardless of the time, Li Tian was like a person who did not know how to be nervous at all. Moreover, Li Tian's voice seemed to have a magical power that could make people relax unconsciously. To be honest, Xiaochen did not know much about Li Tian. After all, this was the first time they had met. Although they had become familiar with each other along the way, Xiaochen and Li Tian had only exchanged a few words, and they were all nonsense. Xiaochen had met almost all of the 9 lords of the 9 palaces above the clouds. Lin Yuan and Lin, who were hot-tempered and belligerent, while the monk and the Taoist priest were lazy and sly. Xiaochen had a deep impression of all of them. However, Li Tian was the only one that Xiaochen did not know how to describe. This person was like a pool of stagnant water, and one could not see his depth. At first glance, there seemed to be nothing special about him. However, if he could become one of the 9 palace masters of the 9 palaces above the clouds, how could he be an ordinary person? Moreover, Li Tian had a very special identity among the 9 palace masters of the 9 palaces above the clouds. He was the #1 think tank of the Cloud Palace. There were many things in the Cloud Palace where Li Tian's opinion played a crucial role. It could even be said that as long as Li Tian asked, Xiaochen would usually not turn him down. That kind of trust was not only a reflection of the relationship between the two, but also Xiaochen's confidence in Li Tian. In terms of combat strength, Li Tian might not be the strongest among the 9 palace masters. However, in terms of intelligence, Li Tian deserved to be #1. This was recognized by everyone. However, Xiaochen had not seen the ability of the #1 think tank of the Cloud Palace. Now, it seemed that it was time for Li Tian to make a move. In a simple sentence, Li Tian had analyzed Mo Lin thoroughly. It felt as if Mo Lin had always been in Li Tian's hands. Hearing this, Lin Yun smiled and said, "What should we do? If you are surrounded and killed, it will indeed be dangerous. Your subordinate will take care of everything." Hearing this, Li Tian said with a smile. Lin Yun also smiled faintly and nodded at the same time, tacitly agreeing to Li Tian's actions. He did not know what method Li Tian had. After all, could it be that he wanted to deal with the entire Great Devil world by himself? According to Mo Lin's current thoughts, it was estimated that he would use the power of the entire Great Devil world to kill them at all costs. Under such circumstances, how could Li Tian break out? Li Tian glanced at Li Tian curiously. Sensing Xiaochen's gaze, Li Tian smiled and bid farewell to Lin Yun before leaving by himself. Xiaochen could guess what Li Tian was going to do when he left. Lin Yun had no plans to leave the Heavenly Devil continent for the time being. Mo Lin's plan to kill her would be completed soon. By then, the entire Heavenly Devil continent would be surrounded. Li Tian's departure was undoubtedly to prepare an escape route for everyone. Was it possible for Li Tian to make an escape route for Lin Yun alone? He looked at Lin Yun suspiciously. As if he had guessed what Xiaochen wanted to ask, Lin Yun smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry, leave everything to Li Tian. We just need to make a big scene and leave the rest to Li Tian." Lin Yun was full of confidence in Li Tian. Xiaochen did not say anything about this. Everything was to wait for the performance of the #1 think tank of Yun Palace. In the next few days, Lin Yun and the rest were like a group of bandits, sweeping through the Heavenly Devil continent crazily. The monk and the Taoist priest were especially excited. Everyone knew that Li Tian had left alone. However, Xiaochen found it strange that everyone seemed to be full of confidence after knowing that Li Tian had left alone. It was as if they believed that Mo Lin's encirclement would not be able to take shape at all. This was because Li Tian was there, and they could leave whenever they wanted. Everyone was full of confidence in Li Tian. This also made Xiaochen look forward to Li Tian's performance. After all, even if Li Tian was an expert of the Ancestor Realm, it would not be easy for him to open up an escape route for everyone. In a few days, Mo Lin had led his men to the Heavenly Devil continent. However, this time, Mo Lin did not directly attack Lin Yun and the rest. Instead, he sealed off the entire Heavenly Devil continent. As a precaution, he ordered his men to build a formation in the heavenly devil continent. It was a series of 3 formations to ensure that even Lin Yun would not be able to leave the heavenly devil continent quietly. Mo Lin did this to not give Lin Yun the slightest chance to trap Lin Yun in the heavenly devil continent. Secondly, he wanted to wait for the experts of the great devil world to arrive so that they could gather the strength of the entire great devil world and kill Shao Chun in one fell swoop. Although Mo Lin was angry, he was not stupid. He did not dare to underestimate Shao Chun. Moreover, after the last failure, Mo Lin had obviously learned to be smart. It was difficult for him to kill Lin Yun one-on-one. He would not even gain any advantage. In this case, he would use the number of people to kill Lin Yun. If 10,000 people were not enough, he would use 100,000 people. If 100,000 people were not enough, he would use 1,000,000 people. Even if Lin Yun was the master of the world, he would use human lives to kill Lin Yun. Mo Lin had learned to be smart. He knew to plan before acting. The formation was being built quickly. More and more experts of the great devil world were rushing to the heavenly devil continent. However, without Mo Lin's order, they naturally did not dare to take action. In the past few days, Mo Lin had been paying attention to the construction of the formation. After all, this was the most important thing. As long as the formation was not broken, Lin Yun and the rest would not be able to leave the heavenly devil continent. However, Mo Lin obviously did not expect that at this time, among the many formation masters of the great devil world, an inconspicuous middle-aged man had already tampered with the formation. This formation master was not outstanding. His cultivation was not high, and his formation realm was not top-notch. However, many formation masters of the great devil world were ordered to build such a huge formation this time. They were led by 3 powerful formation masters who were responsible for building the formation of the heavenly devil continent. Li Wen, how's the situation on your side? The formation master, named Li Wen, was doing his own work. At this time, an old man came to his side and asked. Hearing this, Li Wen bowed respectfully and said, Master, don't worry. It's just building the foundation of the formation. It's not a big problem. Okay. Hearing this, the old man nodded and patted Li Wen's shoulder gently. Then he walked away. The old man was Li Wen's master and one of the 3 most powerful formation masters of the great devil world. However, at this time, he did not realize that his disciple was different. He also did not realize that the Li Wen in front of him was not the real Li Wen. Please collect, vote, recommend. Chapter 2579. The spirit array that sealed off the heavenly demon continent was constantly being constructed. During this process, no one found anything wrong with the spirit array, including Mo Lin. The first array had been completely constructed, completely sealing off the entire great demonic world. Even a bird couldn't fly out. However, Lin Yun and the others didn't have the slightest reaction to this, nor did they have the slightest intention of escaping. They were still sweeping through everything in the great demonic world, especially the monk and the Taoist priest. They were like bandits who had gone down the mountain, robbing everything they saw. News from the heavenly demon continent kept coming to Mo Lin. Knowing that the forces of the heavenly demon continent were destroyed by Lin Yun and the others, Mo Lin was naturally in a bad mood. However, he still held back and didn't choose to attack directly. He had to ensure that Lin Yun and the others didn't have any way out. This time, Mo Lin wouldn't give Lin Yun a chance to escape. Lin Yun, let's see how long you can be happy for. The Black Palace floated outside the heavenly demon continent. Mo Lin suppressed the anger in his heart, waiting to give Lin Yun and the others a fatal blow. The 3 spirit arrays were quickly constructed under Mo Lin's request. On this day, Mo Lin finally launched a siege on Lin Yun and the others. The anger that had been suppressed for so long completely erupted on this day. Moreover, many powerhouses from the great demonic world had also rushed outside the heavenly demon continent at this time. The number of people was so large that it was shocking. Mo Lin had used the power of the entire great demonic world to kill Lin Yun and the others. As many powerhouses from the great demonic world entered the heavenly demon continent, Lin Yun and the others naturally received the news immediately. At this time, the monk and the Taoist priest had just destroyed a large sect. Naturally, they went straight to the treasury immediately. Lin Yun and Xiao Chun stood side by side calmly. Lin Yun said with a chuckle, Mo Lin is really willing. I guess 80% of the Emperor Realm powerhouses from the great demonic world have gathered in the heavenly demon continent. In the face of the upcoming battle, Lin Yun wasn't worried at all. On the other hand, Xiao Chen knew very well that this battle wasn't going to be easy. It could even be said to be extremely dangerous. First of all, Mo Lin was well prepared this time. Not only did he block all of their escape routes, but he also gathered all of the people in the Great Thousand World. In the face of such a large number of people, even though Xiao Chun and the rest had extraordinary skills, they still had to be careful. However, this battle was another opportunity for Xiao Chun to break through to the Ancestor Realm. The prerequisite was that Xiao Chun was able to successfully persist. If he was directly killed, then everything would be for naught. Moreover, in such a large-scale battle, Xiao Chun knew very well that Lin Yun and the others would not be able to rescue him in time. He could only rely on himself. Xiao Chun, who had experienced countless battles, knew that it was an extremely foolish idea to entrust one's life to others in such a battle. Xiao Chun was very clear that his life was the safest when he was in control of his own hands. After all, Xiao Chun wasn't too nervous. On the contrary, he was a little excited. This might have been due to the influence of Lin Yun and the rest. He didn't have the intention to leave. Not long after, Mo Lin and the Ancestor Realm experts of the Demon Ape appeared in front of everyone. As soon as Mo Lin appeared, his gaze naturally locked onto Lin Yun. Then, the experts of the Great Devil World appeared one after another. There were tens of thousands of people, and the lowest cultivation was at the End Realm. Mo Lin used such a large number of people to surround and kill Lin Yun and the rest. It could be seen that Mo Lin wanted to kill Lin Yun. Mo Lin looked at Lin Yun with a murderous gaze and said coldly, Lin Yun, there's a path to heaven, but you don't take it. There's no door to hell, but you barge in. Let's see where you can escape to today. His gaze was cold and full of murderous intent. However, Lin Yun didn't care about it at all. She smiled and said, You want to kill me? Mo Lin, you're too naive. You're still so stubborn even when you're about to die. Kill! Mo Lin shouted coldly. Hearing Mo Lin's words, the experts of the Great Devil World attacked one after another. Mo Lin and the Ancestor Realm experts of the Demon Abyss were the first to bear the brunt and attacked everyone. Mo Lin went straight for Xiao Chun. The expert from the Demon Abyss, who had fought with Xiao Chun before, also targeted Xiao Chun. Mo Lin did not know if it was intentional or not. They fought again. This time, the Demon Abyss expert was obviously not careless when facing Xiao Chun. He didn't treat Xiao Chun as a half-step Ancestor Realm expert at all. It was as if he treated Xiao Chun on the same level as himself. He knew that Xiao Chun was a monster. Although he didn't have the cultivation of the Ancestor Realm, he could still fight above his level even if he had reached the Ancestor Realm. Naturally, he didn't dare to be careless. At the same time, compared to the previous battle, Xiao Chun had to face the attacks of the other experts of the Great Devil World in addition to the Ancestor Realm expert this time. For a time, the pressure on him naturally increased dramatically. In addition to Xiao Chun, the monk and Taoist priest were also under a lot of pressure this time. Lin, who was still fighting 1 against 2, but because of Li Tian's departure, the monk and Taoist priest could only fight 2 against 3 this time. Facing 3 Ancestor Realm experts of the Demon Abyss and many experts of the Great Devil World at the same time, although the monk and Taoist priest were under a lot of pressure, the 2 of them were not ordinary people. For a time, they fought back and forth. Don't look at how greedy and lustful these 2 fellows were normally. Their battle prowess did not need to be mentioned at all. Compared to Lin Hu, they were not at a disadvantage at all. Moreover, The monk and Taoist in battle were filled with the thick aura of an expert. The giant golden Buddha behind the monk and the Taoist priest's 3 pure Taoist chi all showed their powerful combat strength. For this battle, everyone had long been prepared, so they were not caught off guard at this time. At this time, Xiao Chun was facing the siege of the demon abyss expert and many experts of the great devil world. He did not hold back and attacked with all his strength. After a period of time, Xiao Chen's identity could not be hidden from the demon abyss. They already knew that Xiao Chun was not a member of the Cloud Palace at all, but the sect master of the sword sect in the Great Thousand World. He was the most promising person to become the world master of the Great Thousand World and was now the temporary overlord of the Great Thousand World. Xiao Chun, you want to stop the footsteps of the demon abyss with your Great Thousand World? It's simply a fat arm blocking a car. Xiao Chen's identity was exposed. In this regard, Xiao Chen did not say much. The dustless sword in his hand directly slashed out and collided fiercely with the demon abyss expert. For a time, the two of them were evenly matched. He was not surprised that his identity was exposed because with the strength of the demon abyss, as long as they casually checked, they would definitely find out. There was nothing strange about it. Please collect, monthly vote, recommend. Chapter 2580. After knowing Xiao Chen's true identity, this demon abyss master's killing intent towards Xiao Chun grew even stronger. After all, he was the sect master of the sword sect in the Great Thousand World. If he could kill Xiao Chun again, it would be even easier for the great demon world to take over the Great Thousand World. After knowing Xiao Chen's true identity, this demon abyss master's killing intent towards Xiao Chun grew even stronger. After all, he was the sect master of the sword sect in the Great Thousand World. If he could kill Xiao Chun again, it would be even easier for the great demon world to take over the Great Thousand World. His attacks were ruthless. Each of his moves aimed to take Xiao Chen's life. Facing this demon abyss master, Xiao Chun did not show any weakness and also attacked with all his strength. The two had already fought a fierce battle before, and their combat strength could be said to be almost the same. In a one-on-one situation, neither of them could do much to the other. However, in the current situation, Xiao Chun did not only need to face this demon abyss master alone. There were many cultivators from the great demon world around Xiao Chun, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Although there were no half-step Ancestor Realm cultivators among these people, there were quite a few Emperor Realm and End Realm cultivators, hundreds of them. With so many people besieging him, Xiao Chun naturally had to be on guard. So, for a time, Xiao Chun was completely at a disadvantage. The pressure increased greatly, and these cultivators from the great demon world were obviously not incompetent. While Xiao Chun was fighting fiercely with this demon abyss master, one of the Emperor Realm cultivators seized the opportunity and instantly attacked, fiercely slamming his palm toward Xiao Chun. Sensing the attack from behind, Xiao Chun was fighting this demon abyss master head-on at this time, so it was impossible for him to withdraw and retreat. He could not even relax for a moment, otherwise he would definitely be defeated. Between the attacks of an Emperor Realm cultivator and an Ancestor Realm master, there was no need to consider who was stronger. Choosing the lesser of two evils, Xiao Chun immediately made a decision to meet the Emperor Realm cultivator's sneak attack head-on. With Xiao Chen's current strength and physical body, the attack of an Emperor Realm cultivator couldn't cause much damage to him. So Xiao Chun didn't try to avoid it and simply took it head-on. The palm silhouette slammed heavily against Xiao Chen's back, causing Xiao Chen's blood energy to roil. However, Xiao Chun quickly suppressed it. Just like Yang Kai himself, the attacks of Emperor Realm cultivators were no longer a threat to him. Even if he took them head-on, as long as he avoided hitting his vitals, he wouldn't be in too much danger. However, facing an Emperor Realm cultivator, Xiao Chun could completely ignore his attack, but Xiao Chun had to face not just one Emperor Realm cultivator, but several hundred of them. As the Emperor Realm cultivator's attack fell, the rest of the Great Demon World cultivators also attacked one after another, sending violent attacks toward Xiao Chun. In an instant, Xiao Chun was drowned in everyone's attacks. As long as they seized the opportunity, these great demon world cultivators obviously wouldn't hold back. They all attacked with all their might, wanting to kill Xiao Chun on the spot. The attacks from hundreds of people drowned Xiao Chun like a tidal wave. Xiao Chun had no choice but to use his sword realm to form a protective shield around himself under such a dense barrage of attacks, protecting himself as best he could. Sword domain protection, Young Kai shouted softly. This was a self-created divine ability Xiao Chun created after breaking through to the half-step ancestor realm. He used the power of his territory to form a layer of armor around himself, which could perfectly protect him with amazing defensive capabilities. He had no choice but to use this move. Otherwise, even someone as strong as Xiao Chun wouldn't dare to use his physical body to take on the attacks of several hundred great demon world cultivators. The attacks continued to fall on the sword domain protection, but Xiao Chun remained unscathed. He secretly rejoiced in his heart. Fortunately, he had reacted quickly enough just now. Otherwise, the result wouldn't have been like this. The attacks continued for a long time, about a quarter of an hour before they completely stopped. As the aftermath of the various battles slowly dissipated, Xiao Chun's figure appeared in front of everyone again. Seeing Xiao Chun take so many attacks head-on and remain unscathed, these great demon world cultivators were completely stunned. They were sure that Xiao Chun had absolutely no chance of dodging just now, as he was completely enveloped by everyone's attacks. Under such circumstances, Xiao Chun had no way to dodge at all. But even so, Xiao Chun took on the attacks of several hundred Emperor Realm and End Realm cultivators head-on. But the final result was that he wasn't injured at all. This was completely unexpected. One had to know that if it was any other half-step Ancestor Realm cultivator facing the joint attacks of so many people, even if they didn't die in the end, they would definitely be seriously injured. But for Xiao Chun, let alone being seriously injured, he wasn't even slightly injured. On the other hand, the Demon Abyss Master saw through the clues and stared at Xiao Chun. A look of understanding flashed across his eyes. Domain power. Xiao Chun's entire body was covered by domain power, forming a layer of protection. No wonder those people's attacks just now didn't have any effect. Indeed, with their strength, it was impossible for them to break Xiao Chun's sword domain. Sword domain protection was actually the opposite of a very long sword domain. Under normal circumstances, when a sword domain was activated, the wider the area it covered, the better, because this was the only way to suppress more people. Sword domain protection, on the other hand, was to constantly compress the sword domain, allowing the originally scattered power to gather at a single point. In this way, although the area was much smaller, the power was stronger, and it couldn't be better used for defense. He didn't expect Xiao Chun to have such a method and be able to use his domain to such an extent. Regarding this, the Demon Abyss Master was extremely envious. He didn't comprehend domain power because he didn't have any special physique. This had nothing to do with talent. Without a super special physique like the sword body, there was no hope for him to comprehend domain power in his lifetime. Although he was envious, his killing intent towards Xiao Chun didn't decrease in the slightest. At this time, Xiao Chun's gaze was no longer limited to the Demon Abyss Master, but on the surrounding cultivators of the great demon world. If one of these small fries was picked out alone, it could be said that they were no threat to him. But now they were grouped together, and with the cooperation of an Ancestor Realm Master, the threat level was greatly increased. After all, even ants can bite an elephant to death when there are many of them, not to mention that the lowest cultivation of these people present was at the End Realm, so he couldn't be careless. Let's deal with these small fries first. Soon, Xiao Chun made a decision. With a move of his feet, his figure instantly disappeared. However, this time, Xiao Chun's target was no longer the Demon Abyss Master, but directly locked onto an Emperor Realm cultivator of the great demon world. Seeing that Xiao Chun had locked onto these small fries, the Demon Abyss Master naturally couldn't stand by and watch, let alone allow Xiao Chun to attack. After all, the two of them were equal in strength, and the key to victory or defeat this time was actually these small fries. Only by cooperating with these small fries could he possibly kill Shao Chun. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. End of this chapter. Chapter 2581. It would have been difficult for the Mighty One from Mo Yuan to do anything to Shao Chun. At the same time, it would have been almost impossible for Shao Chun to kill that Mighty One. As such, Shao Chun had set his sights on the small fries around him. Although these people were not a threat to Shao Chun at all, it was indeed annoying to let them jump around on the sidelines. At the same time, Shao Chun had to divert his attention to guard against them during the battle, so it was better to just kill these small fries. Shao Chun attacked, and the Demon Abyss expert also followed closely behind, wanting to stop Shao Chun. With Shao Chun's strength, these great Devil World warriors around him couldn't fight back at all. The two of them, one in front and one behind, but Shao Chun was obviously happier. The Wuchen sword in his hand directly slashed out, instantly killing an End-Realm Great Devil World warrior. With only End-Realm cultivation, this little bit of cultivation was obviously not enough in front of Shao Chun. It was impossible to block a casual sword. He took the lead to kill one person, and at the same time, the Demon Abyss expert also arrived in time, directly blocking Shao Chun. He fiercely punched out, fighting fiercely with Shao Chun. With the obstruction of this Demon Abyss powerhouse, it was difficult for Shao Chun to have a chance to attack for a while, and the surrounding Great Devil World martial artists began to stir again, constantly looking for opportunities to attack Shao Chun. Not only did he have to face this Demon Abyss expert, but he also had to face so many Great Devil World warriors. Shao Chun was indeed under a lot of pressure. If he was careless, he might be injured. Under such circumstances, once he was injured, it was definitely not good news. However, under the premise of enduring such terrifying pressure, Shao Chun's cultivation also began to stir. Just as Lin Yun said, fighting was the best cultivation. This was like squeezing out a person's potential. The entire Heavenly Devil continent changed color. With so many experts fighting here, the Heavenly Devil continent naturally couldn't bear the aftermath of such a battle. The earth was torn apart, and the sky was filled with spatial cracks. To the many warriors of the Heavenly Devil continent, this was the end of the world. Not to mention participating in the battle, they couldn't even withstand a single aftershock. They didn't have the slightest ability to protect themselves. They could only pray and hope that they would be lucky. Mo Lin was determined to kill Lin Yun and the others in one fell swoop. He did not want to give Lin Yun and the others any chance. On the other hand, Lin Yun and the others did not choose to surrender. Both parties were in full swing. The entire Heavenly Devil continent, or rather, the entire Great Devil World, was in complete chaos because of the arrival of Lin Yun and Shao Chun. At the same time, in the Great World, Xinyuan Ling and Long Qing were unable to follow Shao Chun to the Great Devil World this time, mainly because their cultivation realms were not enough. Right now, the two of them were only Emperor Realm Masters. This cultivation was indeed not low, but it was still not enough to go to the Great Demon World with Lin Yun and the others. After all, with the current situation in the Great Devil World, if Xinyuan Ling and Long Qing would go together, they probably wouldn't have much ability to protect themselves. Not to mention the Ancestor Realm Masters in the Demon Abyss. Even if the many Emperor Realm Masters in the Great Devil World joined forces, they would be enough to kill the two of them. To put it bluntly, they would only increase the burden on Shao Chun and the others if they went. Instead of going to the Great Devil World, they stayed in the Great World. However, Xinyuan Ling and Long Qing were not idle either. The two of them went to the Great World together to gain experience. Although there wasn't much danger in the Great World, they could at least broaden their horizons. With Xinyuan Ling and Long Qing's strength, as long as the half-step Ancestor Realm Masters did not intervene, there was basically no danger in the Great World. Long Qing and Xinyuan Ling left the Cloud Palace on the Spatial Spirit Boat. At this moment, Long Qing and Xinyuan Ling arrived at a place called the Ancient Barrens Continent. In a small city, the two of them found a restaurant to rest. While drinking, they chatted. As they talked, the topic shifted to Shao Chun. Long Qing said with some worry. I wonder how little brother is doing now. Long Qing had never been to the Great Devil World, but he also knew the relationship between the Great Devil World and the Great World. It was simply like fire and water, so it was not difficult to imagine the danger of going to the Great Devil World. Xiao Chun went to the Great Devil World. Who knew what he would encounter? However, even Lin Yun herself said that this trip to the Great Devil World was not an exaggeration to say that it was a narrow escape. Hearing Long Qing's words, Xin Yuan Ling comforted, "Don't worry, it's not like you don't know third brother's ability. Moreover, Palace Master Lin Yun and the others are with him. You should be fine. At least he doesn't have to worry about protecting himself." Xin Yuan Ling believed in Xiao Chun. After all, if Xiao Chun was so easy to kill, it would be impossible for him to reach this point. Xiao Chun had survived countless life and death crises, so this little thing was nothing. The two of them chatted casually. Suddenly, the topic of the people at the next table attracted the attention of Xin Yuan Ling and Long Qing. I heard that the ruins have already appeared, and it is said that it is a cave left behind by an ancestor realm powerhouse. It is extremely extraordinary. Many forces have already rushed over. Ancient ruins? Ancient ruins left behind by an ancestor realm powerhouse. Hearing this, Xin Yuan Ling and Long Qing looked at each other and saw a trace of curiosity in each other's eyes. Without saying much, the two of them got up and directly came to the front of these people. Xin Yuan Ling asked with a smile, "Friend, may I ask what the ruins you mentioned just now are?" Xin Yuan Ling was very polite. Although the cultivation of these warriors was very low in Xin Yuan Ling's eyes, and he could easily crush them to death, there was no need at all. Moreover, Xin Yuan Ling was not someone who would bully others. Seeing the smile on Xin Yuan Ling's face and his amiable attitude, these people didn't act rashly. After all, a normal person wouldn't offend someone for no reason. Moreover, the ancient ruins weren't a secret in the ancient Barrens continent. Many people knew about it. They warmly invited Xin Yuan Ling and Long Qing to sit down. However, when they looked at Long Qing, these people's gazes were obviously different. Such gazes made Long Qing a little unhappy, so she deliberately released a trace of aura. Feeling Long Qing's powerful aura, these people were instantly stunned. As long as one was an idiot, they would know that the two people in front of them were definitely not ordinary. Their cultivation far exceeded theirs. After being slightly intimidated by Long Qing, these people did not dare to look at Long Qing anymore. Instead, they looked at Xin Yuan Ling one after another with a flattering smile on their faces. "The two of you shouldn't be from the ancient Barrens continent, right?" And regarding this, Xin Yuan Ling did not hide and nodded truthfully. Seeing this, these people also began to talk about the ancient ruins. Xin Yuan Ling and Long Qing listened quietly, wanting to know what was so special about this ancient ruins. Seeking collection, seeking monthly votes, seeking recommendation. Chapter 2582. This relic was now a hot topic in the ancient Barrens continent. Many people from other continents of the macro world had come because of its reputation. The reason for this was all thanks to the owner of this relic. This relic was now a hot topic in the ancient Barrens continent. Many people from other continents of the macro world had come because of its reputation. The reason for this was all thanks to the owner of this relic. The origin of the ancient Barrens continent could be attributed to one person, the great sage of the ancients. This person existed before the establishment of the Cloud Palace. It was said that the macro world had yet to have a true overlord at that time. The entire macro world was in chaos. Various major forces fought fiercely for the only throne. The great sage of the ancients was an ancestor realm expert. He was extremely powerful and suppressed the entire ancient Barrens continent. This was how the ancient Barrens continent got its name. There were many legends about the great sage of the ancients in the ancient Barrens continent. His descendants also worshipped him. However, after so many years, no one knew whether the great sage of the ancients was dead or alive because there was no evidence. However, this time, the relic of the great sage of the ancients had given the answer. According to the investigation of some experts, the relic that appeared this time was likely to be the tomb of the great sage of the ancients. The tomb of the great sage of the ancients must contain the lifelong inheritance of the great sage of the ancients. That was why it caused such a huge commotion. Even the Cloud Palace sent people to check it out personally. However, with the strength of the Cloud Palace, they naturally looked down on the tomb of the great sage of the ancients. After all, a dead Ancestor Realm expert wouldn't know the importance of the Cloud Palace. There were more than a dozen Ancestor Realm experts living in the Cloud Palace. Moreover, with the combat power of Lin Yuan and the others, even if the great sage of the ancients was resurrected, it was hard to say who was stronger. Therefore, the Cloud Palace naturally wouldn't covet the inheritance of the great sage of the ancients. Of course, some disciples of the Cloud Palace couldn't resist such temptation. Therefore, some people rushed to the ancient Barrens continent to see if they could get any opportunities. The Cloud Palace didn't stop them. The Cloud Palace was the overlord of the macro world. Even if the great sage of the ancients was still alive, he could only surrender. This time, the Cloud Palace did not say that they would monopolize the relics of the great saint of the ancients. Instead, they generously allowed everyone to participate. As for who would end up with the relics, that would depend on their own abilities. The Cloud Palace still had that much tolerance. Even though many of the Cloud Palace's disciples wanted a piece of the pie, the Cloud Palace did not ask for any special treatment. Instead, they allowed their disciples to compete fairly. After learning about the great sage of the ancients and the relic, Xin Yuanling and Long Qing stood up and cupped their hands in thanks. "Thank you, everyone." After speaking, they walked away. Looking at the backs of Xin Yuanling and Long Qing, a trace of fear flashed across their faces. One of them even opened his mouth to ask, "Big brother, these two people don't look ordinary. Could they be from the Cloud Palace?" "I don't think so. However, I'm afraid that the cultivation of these two people has already reached the Emperor Realm." The few of them could not see through the true cultivation of Xin Yuanling and Long Qing, but they could guess that the two of them should be far above the Emperor Realm. Although the Emperor Realm Masters were not the real top masters in the macro world, under normal circumstances, half-step Ancestor Realm Masters rarely roamed the world. As for the real Ancestor Realm Masters, needless to say, there were only a few Ancestor Realm Masters in the macro world, and it was even rarer to encounter them. Therefore, on a certain level, the Emperor Realm Masters were the real, strongest masters, at least in the eyes of ordinary people. After learning a lot about the great saint of the ancients, Xin Yuanling and Long Qing were also very interested in the relics. Although the two of them did not say that they had to obtain the inheritance of the great saint of the ancients, it was not a big deal to take a look. After all, they came out this time to gain experience. "How about it? Do you want to go?" After leaving the restaurant, Xin Yuanling looked at Long Qing and asked. Hearing Xin Yuanling's words, Long Qing smiled slightly and said, "Don't you already have an answer?" "Ha, you're right. Let's go then. We have nothing to do anyway." The two of them hit it off and immediately rushed to the great saint of the ancients' relics. Now, there were many masters waiting around the relics, waiting for the relic seal to open. In fact, if the Ancestor Realm Masters of Cloud Palace took action, they could completely open the seal by force, but Cloud Palace did not do so. First of all, Cloud Palace did not covet the great saint of the ancients' relics. Second, it was out of respect for the dead. Since it was a relic left behind by the great saint of the ancients, they would proceed according to the great saint of the ancients' wishes. When the relic seal would be opened, and what kind of test would there be, Cloud Palace did not plan to take any action. Without wasting too much time, Xin Yuanling and Long Qing rushed to the relic. On a desolate plain, such scenery could be seen everywhere in the ancient Barrens continent. However, at this time, many people gathered on this originally desolate plain. In front, a pale yellow light seemed to shroud the world, and a trace of desolation was faintly discernible. That was the great saint of the ancients' relics, but it was impossible to enter now. Even a half-step Ancestor Realm Master could not forcibly destroy it. Everyone was waiting for the relic to open, and the arrival of Xinyuan Ling and Long Qing obviously did not attract too much attention. After all, even Cloud Palace did not forcibly occupy this relic, let alone other forces. Therefore, this place could be said to be a mix of good and bad people. Everyone had their own camps and did not interfere with each other. Everyone's purpose was the relic in front of them, so no one wanted to cause trouble for no reason. In this regard, Xinyuan Ling and Long Qing were also happy to have peace and quiet. Originally, they planned to find a place to rest, but who knew who arrived first? The two of them actually met acquaintances Dao Ju, Xiao Xiao, and the others. Brother Xinyuan. When Dao Ju and the others saw Xinyuan Ling and Long Qing, they took the initiative to come forward. As they were all people of the Great Thousand World, everyone was very familiar with each other. At this time, it was inevitable that they felt close to each other. Dao Ju and the others obviously did not waste the 2 years in vain, and each of them had grown a lot. Brother Xinyuan, you said that Xiao Chan went to the Great Devil World? From Xinyuan Ling, Dao Ju and the others already knew that Xiao Chun had gone to the Great Devil World. For a moment, everyone was a little shocked. Why did he go to the Great Devil World? Seeing everyone's surprise, Xinyuan Ling also smiled slightly and said, Third brother wants to break through to the Ancestor Realm, so he can only find another way. But don't worry, Palace Master Lin Yun and the others went together. Dao Ju and the others were obviously not familiar with Lin Yun, or they could not get in touch with Lin Yun at all. When they heard that Xiao Chun and Lin Yun had gone to the Great Devil World, Dao Ju and the others were envious and worried at the same time. They were envious that Lin Yun valued Xiao Chun so much, but they were also worried that Xiao Chun would be in danger in the Great Devil World. Please collect, please vote, please recommend. Chapter 2583. Dao Ju and the others had heard a lot about Xiao Chun in the past few years, especially when Xiao Chun faced the siege of many experts in the macro world alone. Dao Ju and the others found it unbelievable. In just a few years, everyone had been training in the macro world. However, Dao Ju and the others knew that the gap between Xiao Chun and them was getting wider and wider. Although Lin Yun's help was indispensable, Xiao Chen's own efforts were also indispensable. Everyone was chatting. Xinyuan Ling always remembered that Xiao Chan wanted to rope in Dao Ju and the others to join the sword sect, so he mentioned it intentionally or unintentionally. Of course, he did not say it explicitly. After all, it was not the right time yet. Xiao Chen's goal was to build the sword sect into an existence like the Cloud Palace. For this reason, it was necessary for Dao Ju and the others to join. After all, compared to Songxing and the others, Dao Ju and the others had greater potential. While everyone was waiting for the relic to open, Xiao Chun and the others had been fighting fiercely for several days in the Great Devil World. After such a fierce and long battle, everyone was injured, including Lin Yun. However, the Great Devil World had suffered a great loss over the past few days. However, Mo Lin still had no intention of stopping. Mo Lin knew very well that as long as the Demon Abyss did not fall, the Great Devil World would be fine. As for the deaths and injuries of these warriors, it would not hurt the foundation of the Great Devil World. On the contrary, if he could kill Lin Yun, it would definitely be beneficial to the Great Devil World. This was because once Lin Yun died, the macro world would be without a leader. At that time, it would be easy for Mo Lin to take down the macro world. He was determined to kill Lin Yun and the others in the Heavenly Devil Continent. Along the way, Lin Yun and the others fought and retreated. However, the Heavenly Devil Continent had already been sealed by Mo Lin. Even if Lin Yun and the others wanted to hide, it was impossible. Basically, as soon as they left the battle, they would be found by the warriors of the Great Devil World in less than a quarter of an hour, and then another fierce battle would ensue. There was almost no time to rest. In the midst of the battle, everyone was gradually separated. At this moment, only Xiao Chun and Ning Shuang were aware of it. Xiao Chun and Ning Shuang had just escaped from the pursuit of many martial artists of the Great Demon World. After killing many of them, Xiao Chun and Ning Shuang were finally able to escape. They arrived at the lakeside of a mountain range. Xiaochen didn't think too much about it and directly swallowed a healing pill. Ning Shuang did the same. After a few days of intense fighting, the two of them were extremely tired and looked incomparably miserable. Fortunately, their injuries were not serious. Moreover, with the help of healing medicinal pills, they were quickly recovering. Ning Shuang was a person of few words. Xiaochen already knew about this. The two of them didn't talk much. They each recovered their injuries and spiritual power. Ning Shuang glanced faintly at Xiaochen, who had closed his eyes. He secretly admired Xiaochen. After all, it was indeed not easy for Xiaochen to persist until now with the cultivation of the half-step progenitor realm. It should be known that the people of the great devil world did not show any mercy to Xiaochen. On the contrary, the obsession of the warriors of the great devil world to kill Xiaochen could be said to be second only to Lin Yun. They didn't know how long this battle would last, but without Lin Yun's order, Ning Shuang and the others naturally couldn't retreat by themselves. They weren't worried about whether they could escape unscathed. Li Tian must have arranged everything. As long as they waited for Lin Yun's order, everyone would definitely be able to leave the heavenly devil continent safely. They recovered their injuries and spiritual power with all their strength, but only a quarter of an hour later, the warriors of the great devil world really appeared in front of them. They had long been accustomed to this. Facing these powerhouses of the great devil world, Xiaochen and Ning Shuang's expressions didn't change much. They got up and immediately fought again. They didn't give Xiaochen and the others any time to breathe. The meaning was obvious. They wanted to exhaust Xiaochen and the others to death. However, after so many days of fighting, Xiaochen's cultivation had indeed made great progress. At this time, he had clearly touched the threshold of the progenitor realm. Although Xiaochen was only one step away from the progenitor realm, he had been stagnant before. Now that he could touch the threshold of the progenitor realm, it was definitely great news for Xiaochen. In fact, Xiaochen had already begun to attack the barrier of the progenitor realm 2 days ago. Although he didn't succeed, with Xiaochen's continuous attacks, it wasn't that he didn't have any gains. Xiaochen even found that in the battle, he didn't need to take the initiative to do anything. The spiritual power in his body naturally began to attack the barrier of the progenitor realm. This should be the benefit of fighting, that Lin Yun said. Because of the fierce battle of life and death, the body instinctively felt danger, so it constantly squeezed Xiaochen's potential, forcing Xiaochen to break through the progenitor realm as soon as possible. It was still the progenitor realm expert from the demon abyss. Xiaochen wanted to completely shake him off, but he couldn't succeed every time. At this time, he found Xiaochen again, and the demon abyss expert said with overflowing killing intent, "Xiaochen, surrender. You won't be able to walk out of the heavenly devil continent." In the view of the demon abyss expert, Xiaochen and the others were already arrows at the end of their flight. After several days of fierce fighting, Xiaochen and the others didn't have the slightest time to catch their breath. Even a progenitor realm expert couldn't bear such consumption. Hearing the words of the demon abyss expert, Xiaochen responded to him with a slash of his sword without hesitation. Seeing this, the demon abyss expert also attacked immediately, and the attacks of the two collided fiercely. They had already fought countless times, and the two were already very familiar with each other's strength. They didn't hold back at all when they attacked. In the fierce battle, the warriors from the great devil world naturally wouldn't surrender. Instead, they looked for opportunities to launch sneak attacks. Xiaochen and Ning Shuang were surrounded by thousands of warriors from the great devil world. At the same time, there were two progenitor realm experts from the demon abyss as the main attackers. Such a battle indeed put a lot of pressure on the two of them. This was especially true for Xiaochen. After all, his cultivation hadn't reached the progenitor realm. Compared to Ning Shuang, Xiaochen was clearly having a harder time holding on. Ning Shuang also saw this point, so she intentionally or unintentionally helped Xiaochen reduce some of the pressure and tried her best to attract more warriors from the great devil world to attack her. In this way, Xiao Qian's side would definitely be much more relaxed. Even so, Xiao Qian was still under a lot of pressure, especially when the injuries on his body continued to worsen with each battle. Xiao Qian's condition could be said to be getting worse with each battle. The Demon Abyss expert fighting Xiao Qian clearly saw this point, so he was secretly excited in his heart. If this continued, Xiao Qian would be exhausted to death sooner or later. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendation. End of chapter. Chapter 2584. It was as if he had already seen the scene of Xiao Qian being killed by himself. As the battle continued, the Demon Abyss powerhouse's confidence in killing Xiao Qian grew. If it was only a one-on-one battle with Xiao Qian, he would not have the confidence to kill Xiao Qian. But now it was not a one-on-one battle. As if he had already seen the scene of Xiao Qian being killed by himself. As the battle continued, the Demon Abyss powerhouse's confidence in killing Xiao Qian grew. If it was only a one-on-one battle with Xiao Qian, he would not have the confidence to kill Xiao Qian. But now it was not a one-on-one battle. Moreover, after so many days of high-intensity fighting, Xiao Qian was already an arrow at the end of its flight, at least in the eyes of the Demon Abyss powerhouse. Not only was his body injured, but he also had spiritual power that was difficult to recover. His injuries were getting worse, and his spiritual power was constantly drying up. As a result, Xiao Qian's condition would only get worse and worse, and his hope of killing Xiao Qian would naturally increase. Thinking that killing Xiao Qian would definitely be a great achievement, especially now that the Great Devil World coveted the Great Thousand Worlds so much, killing Xiao Qian was tantamount to clearing a huge stumbling block for the Great Devil World. Thinking of this, the Demon Abyss powerhouse's attacks became even more violent. In the face of the increasingly violent attacks of the Demon Abyss powerhouse, Xiao Qian naturally would not retreat, nor could he retreat. While fighting fiercely with the Demon Abyss powerhouse, Xiao Qian looked for opportunities to kill the surrounding Great Devil World warriors. Although these ants were weak, it was really annoying to constantly launch sneak attacks from the side. Moreover, his injuries were more due to their attacks. It would be difficult for the real Demon Abyss powerhouse to injure him, because Xiao Qian had always been on guard against him. On the contrary, these ants would launch sneak attacks whenever they had the chance. Sometimes, Xiao Qian had no time to defend himself and could only choose to take one attack head-on. As long as an attack hit him, it would be like poking a hornet's nest. The attacks of the others would swarm over, not giving Xiao Qian any time to react. These ants were annoying, but Xiao Qian had no choice but to divert a portion of his attention to carefully guard against them. Therefore, as long as there was a chance, Xiao Qian would not show any mercy and would directly kill these annoying fellows. Several Great Devil World warriors had already been killed by Xiao Qian, but the overall situation did not change much because there were at least hundreds of people besieging him. Killing a few people obviously did not affect much. Every time Xiao Qian attacked these ants, the Demon Abyss powerhouse would seize the opportunity to attack him. As a result, there were many times when Xiao Qian could have killed them, but he couldn't chase after them. After all, he could ignore the attacks of End Realm and even Emperor Realm warriors, but he was far from being able to ignore the attacks of Ancestor Realm powerhouses. If this Demon Abyss powerhouse were to hit him head-on without any warning, the damage would not be a joke, especially if it hit a vital part. Xiao Qian would probably be seriously injured on the spot. Therefore, Xiao Qian often gave up chasing because of this, causing these Great Devil World cultivators to be even more fearless. It was a very difficult battle, but the benefits were obvious, especially his own cultivation. Therefore, Xiao Qian was not in a hurry. Besides, he did not expect to win this battle in the first place, and it was impossible for him to win. Xiao Qian estimated that Lin Yun would probably give the order to retreat in a few days. It was obviously unwise to fight to the death with the people of the Great Devil World here, and if the time dragged on, even Xiao Qian and the others would be in danger. It was definitely unrealistic to want to fight against a universe with the strength of 8 people and a powerful universe like the Great Devil World, and Lin Yun would not do so. This battle unknowingly lasted for another night, and Xiao Chun and Ning Shuang also began to look for an opportunity to break out. But the surrounding Great Devil World cultivators were obviously prepared for all of this, so there was no good opportunity. Fighting and retreating, they should have broken out with all their strength, but during the battle, a muffled sound suddenly came from Xiao Chen's body, and for a moment, Xiao Chen's eyes flashed with surprise. He broke through. The barrier of breaking through to the ancestor realm was finally broken at this moment. After countless life and death battles, Xiao Chun finally succeeded in breaking through to the ancestor realm. As the barrier of breaking through was broken, Xiao Chen's cultivation also rose, and he instantly broke through to the ancestor realm. Sensing the change in Xiao Chun at the first moment, the Devil Abyss expert was also stunned. He naturally felt that Xiao Chen's cultivation had obviously soared, and he had reached the ancestor realm. Broke through, he thought to himself, and a hint of fear flashed in his eyes. Xiao Chun, who was at the half-step ancestor realm, already had the strength of an ancestor realm expert. Now that he had successfully broken through to the ancestor realm, how strong would Xiao Chun be? But in any case, Xiao Chen's battle strength had definitely increased greatly. Although the half-step ancestor realm and the ancestor realm were only half a step apart, in fact, they were completely different existences. After all, the half-step ancestor realm was not a real ancestor realm expert, and the two could not be compared. Xiao Chun was overjoyed when his cultivation broke through, and Ning Shuang's eyes also flashed with surprise. In any case, after Xiao Chun successfully broke through to the ancestor realm, half of the purpose of this trip to the great demon world had been achieved. Feeling the increase in his battle strength, Xiao Chun felt as if he was bathed in a spring breeze. His spirit energy, which was almost exhausted due to the continuous battles, was instantly replenished with a breakthrough in his cultivation. Half of his body seemed to be filled with infinite power. Xiao Chun suppressed the excitement in his heart. At the same time, a terrifying heavenly punishment gradually formed in the sky. Ancestor Realm Heavenly Punishment. The appearance of heavenly punishment also meant that Xiao Chun had truly broken through to the ancestor realm. Seeing this, the Devil Abyss expert shouted without the slightest hesitation, "Retreat!" He ordered everyone to retreat quickly to avoid being involved in Xiao Chen's heavenly punishment. What a joke! These cultivators of the great demon world would probably die if they touched the ancestor realm heavenly punishment. As for the idea of increasing the difficulty for Xiao Chun, this Devil Abyss expert had never even thought of it. After all, it was an ancestor realm heavenly punishment. Letting an Emperor Realm cultivator go would not only increase the difficulty, it was simply sending them to their deaths. Even if he fell into heavenly punishment, it would probably not have much of an impact on Xiao Chen's heavenly punishment. If it was an Emperor Realm heavenly punishment, an Ancestor Realm Master could indeed increase the difficulty. But if an Emperor Realm cultivator fell into an Ancestor Realm heavenly punishment, then they would be courting death. They were all aware of this. So when they heard the Devil Abyss expert's words, many of the great demon world cultivators present immediately retreated without the slightest hesitation. In this regard, Xiao Chun was too lazy to pay attention to them. At this moment, Xiao Chun was more concerned about the heavenly punishment at hand. Please add it to your collection. Monthly vote. Recommended. End of this chapter. Chapter 2585. Focusing on facing heavenly punishment, Xiao Chun wasn't worried about the cultivators from the great demon world around him at all, because they didn't have the guts to cause trouble. With their Emperor Realm cultivation, interfering with Xiao Chen's Ancestor Realm heavenly punishment was simply courting death. Even the Demon Abyss Master didn't dare to approach Xiao Chun at this time, let alone stop Xiao Chun from breaking through to the Ancestor Realm. No one dared to interfere with his Ancestor Realm heavenly punishment, so Xiao Chun was naturally happy and relaxed. However, Ning Shuang on the other side wasn't so easy. Because of Xiao Chen's breakthrough and the appearance of heavenly punishment, The cultivators from the great demon world who were besieging Shao Chen all attacked Ning Shuang at this time. All of a sudden, the pressure he faced almost doubled. Even Ning Shuang found it difficult to hold on, so Shao Chen still had to break through to the Ancestor Realm as soon as possible to help Ning Shuang share some of the pressure. However, the most important thing right now was to break through to the Ancestor Realm. If he couldn't break through to the Ancestor Realm, everything would be in vain. Locking his gaze on heavenly punishment in the sky, Shao Chen watched as the sky was completely torn apart and terrifying lightning roared in the void. Without waiting for Shao Chen to think about it, the first heavenly thunder struck directly. Facing the first heavenly thunder, Shao Chen wasn't nervous at all. When he was at the half-step Ancestor Realm, Shao Chen already had a cultivation comparable to the Ancestor Realm, so it wasn't difficult for Shao Chen to pass through the Ancestor Realm heavenly punishment. Therefore, when the heavenly thunder fell, Shao Chen directly slashed out with his sword. Before the heavenly thunder could reach him, it was directly defeated by Shao Chen. It looked extremely easy, but soon, as the second heavenly thunder fell, Shao Chen's expression became serious. Although his strength was comparable to an Ancestor Realm master, Shao Chen still didn't dare to be too careless when facing heavenly punishment. Shao Chen was trying his best to pass through heavenly punishment. At the same time, the entire heavenly demon continent sensed Shao Chen's breakthrough. Lin Yun and the others in the distance naturally noticed the appearance of the Ancestor Realm heavenly punishment. In the fierce battle with Mo Lin, a smile gradually appeared on Lin Yun's face. Shao Chen's breakthrough was considered one of the purposes of this trip, but Lin Yun and the others came all the way to the great demon world. Lin Yun was in a good mood because of Shao Chen's breakthrough. However, Mo Lin, who was on the other side, was in a completely different mood. Mo Lin could naturally guess that the person who had broken through to the Ancestor Realm was undoubtedly Shao Chen. After all, only Shao Chen could break through to the Ancestor Realm in such a short time. Even if Shao Chen had broken through to the Ancestor Realm, he still wouldn't be much of a threat to Mo Lin. However, in the overall situation, Shao Chen's breakthrough had greatly affected the Great Demon World strategy in the Great Thousand World. The Great Demon World wanted to control the Great Thousand World, so it was naturally impossible for Shao Chen to become the world lord of the Great Thousand World. However, Shao Chen's progress was too fast. He had already broken through to the Ancestor Realm, so Mo Lin was naturally in a bad mood. Mo Lin's expression was ugly, but he didn't have any intention of stopping his attacks. His thoughts became more ferocious, and even the Great Demon World warriors who besieged Lin Yun with Mo Lin worked harder. Shao Chen had already broken through to the Ancestor Realm, so it was useless to stop him now. However, if he could kill Lin Yun and the others here, then even if Shao Chen had broken through to the Ancestor Realm, it would be meaningless. It didn't matter what cultivation a dead person had. Lin Yun wasn't surprised when she saw what Mo Lin was thinking. She still had a smile on her face, and she was entangled with Mo Lin. Mo Lin, I'm afraid you don't have enough people to kill me. Why don't you ask Mo He and the others to come back? Mo He and the others were now in the Hongmeng world, facing Lin Yuan and Gong Nantian. Upon hearing Lin Yun's words, Mo Lin immediately snorted and said, "Humph, Lin Yun, do you think I don't know what you're thinking? You just wanted to call Mo He and the others back. Let me tell you, it's impossible. Immortal Palace, Cloud Palace, Demon Abyss, and Evil Sect had been facing each other in the Hongmeng world for several years. It was obviously impossible for Mo Lin to call Mo He and the others back. Mo Lin wouldn't agree. Lin Yun had already expected Mo Lin's answer, so he didn't say anything else. He didn't want to withdraw because Mo Lin wasn't under enough pressure. Once Mo Lin felt enough pressure, he would definitely withdraw Mo He and the others without hesitation. After all, the Great Demon World was the foundation of Demon Abyss, and there couldn't be any mistakes. Everyone was fighting their own battles, and Shao Chen's side had already sent 8 heavenly punishment. Shao Chen was left with the last heavenly punishment, but the last one, which was the 9th heavenly punishment, was the real test for Shao Chen. Xiao Chun didn't spend much effort to get through the first 8 heavenly punishment. However, before the 9th heavenly punishment fell, Xiao Chun felt a trace of danger. Compared to the first 8 heavenly punishment, the 9th heavenly punishment was indeed much stronger. Under Xiao Chun's gaze, the 9th heavenly punishment fell with a loud rumble. A thunder dragon descended from the sky and rushed straight toward Xiao Chun. The heavenly might was vast and mighty. The huge thunder dragon seemed to want to destroy the world. It roared and rushed toward Xiao Chun. Facing the last heavenly punishment, Xiao Chun seemed to have no strength to fight back. He was swallowed into the dragon's stomach. His whole body seemed to have been swallowed by the thunder dragon directly. After being swallowed by the thunder dragon, Xiao Chun was surrounded by endless heavenly thunder. The 9th heavenly punishment was simply impossible to break. The only way to get through it was to endure the baptism of the heavenly thunder. When the heavenly thunder's power was exhausted, the heavenly punishment would naturally disappear. Therefore, after being swallowed by the thunder dragon, Xiao Chun sat down in a lotus position and allowed the terrifying heavenly thunder to continuously strike his body. In the depths of the sea of thunder, Xiao Chun felt his hair stand on end every time a heavenly thunder fell. Furthermore, the heavenly thunder's power was constantly entering his body, limbs, and meridians. Even his soul was trembling because of the heavenly thunder's attack. There was simply no way to defend himself, let alone fight back. The only thing Xiao Chun could do was grit his teeth and endure. If he could endure it, he would be considered to have broken through to the ancestor realm. If he couldn't, he would probably die. A trace of blood had already seeped out of the corner of his mouth. To be honest, when Xiao Chun was undergoing the heavenly punishment, his body wasn't in a good condition. After all, the fierce battles over the past few days had caused Xiao Chun to suffer many internal injuries. However, there was no other way. Since he had already broken through, Xiao Chun could only do his best to ensure that he could endure the ancestor realm's heavenly punishment. Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. Chapter 2586. Xiao Chun sat cross-legged within the lightning dragon. Countless bolts of lightning constantly struck Xiao Chun. In response, Xiao Chun did not move at all. Instead, he forcefully received all the bolts of lightning. Xiao Chun sat cross-legged within the lightning dragon. Countless bolts of lightning constantly struck Xiao Chun. In response, Xiao Chun did not move at all. Instead, he forcefully received all the bolts of lightning. The heavenly lightning was not only a test for Xiao Chun, it was also a test for him to stabilize his recent breakthrough. If he was able to withstand it, then his cultivation would be stabilized very quickly, and he would no longer be as weak as when he had just made his breakthrough. Xiao Chun could be said to have made ample preparations for the ancestor stage heavenly punishment. As time passed, the lightning dragon gradually became unstable. The power of lightning within its body was also constantly devoured, absorbed, and refined by Xiao Chun. About an hour later, Xiao Chun had successfully absorbed the last trace of the power of the heavenly thunder. The thunder dragon had completely disappeared at that moment, and the thick heavenly might in the sky began to slowly dissipate at the same time. As expected, Xiao Chun perfectly withstood his ancestor stage heavenly punishment. When the heavenly punishment dissipated, Xiao Chun stood up and took a step forward. His figure instantly appeared in front of Ning Shuang. Originally, Ning Shuang had been bitterly holding on. Because Xiao Chun began to undergo the heavenly punishment, the expert from the Devil Abyss who fought with Xiao Chun directly targeted Ning Shuang. His idea was very simple. He wanted to take advantage of the time Xiao Chun was undergoing the heavenly punishment to join forces with the other expert from the Devil Abyss to take down Ning Shuang. At that time, even if Xiao Chun broke through to the ancestor stage, they could still take him down with their combined strength. Unfortunately, Ning Shuang's strength was stronger than he had imagined. As a result, the two of them were unable to take him down immediately. In terms of direct combat power, Ning Shuang might not be too strong among the 9 palace masters of the 9 palaces above the clouds. However, Ning Shuang's movement technique was the most outstanding among the 9 palace masters. Relying on the advantage of her movement technique, Ning Shuang was able to contend with the two. Until now, Xiao Chun had successfully passed the heavenly punishment, but the two of them were still unable to defeat Ning Shuang. With a slash of his sword, he directly forced back the demon abyss expert who had been fighting with him earlier. After breaking through to the ancestor stage, Xiao Qin's strength had naturally increased tremendously. In the face of Xiao Qin's slash, the demon abyss expert's expression immediately sunk. Without any hesitation, he chose to withdraw. Compared to when Xiao Chun was at the half-step ancestor stage, the demon abyss expert was clearly much more cautious. It couldn't be helped. When Xiao Chun was at the half-step ancestor stage, Xiao Chun was already stronger than him. Now that Xiao Chun had truly broken through to the ancestor stage and become a genuine ancestor stage expert, he naturally didn't dare to be careless. After forcing the demon abyss expert back with a slash of his sword, Ning Shuang coldly said, "Why are you so slow?" One could hear the slight complaint in Ning Shuang's voice. After all, Ning Shuang had indeed shouldered a lot of pressure during the period when he had broken through to the ancestor stage. In response, Xiao Qin did not say anything. Instead, he looked towards the demon abyss expert and said with a smile, "This is a fair fight. Honestly speaking, I am under a lot of pressure when fighting someone of a higher cultivation level." Xiao Qin's words were filled with great confidence. Previously, when he fought the demon abyss ancestor stage expert with his half-step ancestor stage cultivation, although they appeared to be evenly matched, the pressure was indeed very great. This was something that Xiao Chun did not deny. However, now that he had successfully broken through to the ancestor stage, the situation was clearly different. Compared to when he was at the half-step ancestor stage, his strength had definitely increased tremendously. In response to Xiao Qin's words, the demon abyss expert's face turned gloomy. However, he did not say anything and directly threw a punch toward Xiao Chun. Regardless of whether Xiao Chun had broken through to the ancestor stage, the demon abyss expert would obviously not back down. Regardless of how powerful Xiao Chun was, Mo Lin was determined to kill Lin Yun and the rest. Hence, he could only fight to the death. In the face of the demon abyss expert's attack, Xiao Chun did not have any intention of dodging. He directly slashed out with his sword, and the two attacks collided violently. This time around, the head-on collision was clearly different from the previous one. Previously, although Xiao Chun was able to remain undefeated, to be honest, Xiao Chun had almost always been at a disadvantage in every head-on collision. However, this time around, Xiao Chun did not seem to be at a disadvantage in the head-on collision. It could be said that the two of them were now evenly matched. Seeing the changes, Xiao Chun became more confident. On the other hand, the demon abyss expert was in a bad spot. When he was at the half-step ancestor stage, he could not take down Xiao Chun. Now that Xiao Chun had successfully broken through to the ancestor stage, it was obviously more difficult to take him down. In the head-on collision, neither of them gained an advantage. At this time, Xiao Chun also took the initiative to attack the demon abyss expert. The dustless sword in his hand slashed out, and a blood-red sword light flashed past. In response, the demon abyss expert's eyelids twitched unconsciously. The power was much stronger than before. Feeling depressed in his heart, the demon abyss expert also knew that he had missed the best opportunity to kill Xiao Chun. Before Xiao Chun broke through, that was the best opportunity to kill Xiao Chun. However, this demon abyss expert could not be blamed. After all, it was not that he did not want to kill Xiao Chun, but that he did not have the ability to do so. If he had the ability to kill Xiao Chun, he would not have waited until Xiao Chun broke through to the ancestor stage. He had completely missed the best opportunity to kill Xiao Chun. It would be extremely difficult for him to kill Xiao Chun now. Furthermore, if the two of them were to fight to the death right now, it was unknown whether or not the demonic abyss cultivator could remain undefeated. They had just exchanged blows, but the Demon Abyss expert already felt an enormous pressure. It was completely different from before. Every attack of Xiao Chen's made the Demon Abyss expert feel an enormous pressure. Killing Xiao Chen was no longer realistic. Even remaining undefeated was very difficult. If it were not for the many great Devil World cultivators around, which distracted Xiao Chen, it was likely that the result would be very difficult to predict. Under the immense pressure, the difference in strength between the two seemed to have been completely reversed at this moment. Just a breakthrough had allowed Xiao Chen's strength to rise so much. The Demon Abyss expert's guess was not wrong. When Xiao Chen was at the half-step ancestor stage, he already had a battle strength comparable to an ancestor stage expert. After truly breaking through to the ancestor stage, his battle strength had almost reached the peak of the ancestor stage. Without giving the Demon Abyss expert any time to breathe, Xiao Chen attacked continuously, gradually suppressing the Demon Abyss expert. This was something that had never happened before. However, just as Xiao Chen and the Demon Abyss expert were engaged in a fierce battle, Ning Shuang received a message from Lin Yun. She directly told Ning Shuang and Xiao Chen to prepare to retreat. Ning Shuang naturally had no objection to this. Please collect monthly vote recommend. Chapter 2587. After fighting for so long, now that Xiao Chen had successfully broken through to the Ancestor Realm, everyone should retreat. After all, there was obviously no benefit in continuing to fight to the death. Moreover, Lin Yun would not be so arrogant as to think that the 8 of them could compete with the entire Great Devil World. This was unrealistic. After receiving Lin Yun's message, Ning Shuang also secretly transmitted a message to Xiao Chen, indicating that he should prepare to break out of the encirclement and retreat. In this regard, Xiao Chen naturally nodded in agreement. After his cultivation had broken through, his goal had been achieved. Not seeing that Xiao Chen and Ning Shuang were preparing to retreat, the Devil Abyss expert who was fighting fiercely with Xiao Chen could be said to be livid at this time. He was extremely depressed. The contrast between before and after was indeed too great. Originally, he could suppress Xiao Chen, but now, with Xiao Chen's breakthrough, he was actually suppressed by Xiao Chen. This made it difficult for him to accept. Xiao Chen's attack did not stop for a moment. He had been suppressing the Devil Abyss expert, not giving him the slightest time to breathe at all. Originally, the Devil Abyss expert thought that this would be a tough battle, but to his surprise, during the fierce battle, Xiao Chen slashed out with his sword. He was prepared to go all out to block Xiao Chen's sword, but in the next second, Xiao Chen actually took the initiative to retreat, and together with Ning Shuang, chose to break out of the encirclement and escape. Xiao Chen's movements were very fast and without any warning, so the Devil Abyss expert was not prepared at all. Now that he had been suppressed by Xiao Chen in a head-on battle, he naturally could not stop Xiao Chen if he wanted to leave. Seeing Xiao Chen and Ning Shuang leave in a flash, the Devil Abyss expert and his companions' expressions changed slightly, but they quickly ordered people to chase after them. During this period, Xiao Chen and the others had performed a breakthrough like this countless times. After all, it was impossible to keep fighting fiercely when surrounded by so many people. They must have time to rest, at least some time to refine the elixir. They thought that Xiao Chen and Ning Shuang would break out of the encirclement for the same reason as before. However, the cultivators from the demonic abyss did not expect that Xiao Chen and the others would break out of the encirclement in order to leave the heavenly devil continent. Perhaps in the eyes of the powerhouses of the demonic abyss, Xiao Chen and the others were like turtles in a jar. The entire heavenly devil continent was sealed inside and out by the 3 matrices. Even a fly would not be able to fly out, let alone a human. Therefore, the Devil Abyss experts did not think that Xiao Chen and the others could leave the heavenly devil continent, so they naturally began to search for the whereabouts of Xiao Chen and the others according to the previous method. After successfully breaking out, Xiao Chen and Ning Shuang followed Lin Yun's instructions and rushed to the rendezvous point without stopping. In this regard, the Devil Abyss side obviously did not notice at all. Now, the Devil Abyss people were still searching for the whereabouts of Shao Chun and the others according to the old method. They flew all the way at an extremely fast speed. In less than an hour, Shao Chun and Ning Shuang had already arrived at the rendezvous point chosen by Lin Yun. When Shao Chun and Ning Shuang arrived, the monk and Taoist priest were obviously one step ahead of them. Seeing Shao Chun, the monk was the first to smile and say, "Shao Chun kid, not bad. You actually broke through to the ancestor realm." Obviously, the two of them also felt the commotion when Shao Chun broke through to the ancestor realm, so they could tell at a glance that Shao Chun had successfully broken through at this time. In this regard, Shao Chun smiled slightly and did not say much. After casually chatting for a while, it was obvious that the monk and Taoist priest were not worried at all. They also did not think that the heavenly devil continent would obstruct them in any way. Not long after, Lin Yun, Lin Hu, and Mu Bei also arrived one after another. Seeing that Shao Chun had broken through to the ancestor realm, Lin Yun nodded with satisfaction. Shao Chun had indeed not let her down. Shao Chun has successfully broken through, so our goal can be considered to be half completed. Next, we have to force Mo Lin to withdraw from the primordial world. Lin Yun looked at the crowd and said faintly. Shao Chun's breakthrough was only one of the goals of this trip, so the crowd could not leave the great devil world yet. They had to force Mo Lin to withdraw Mo Lin and the others from the primordial world. In this regard, the crowd had no objections. Without further ado, Lin Yun directly led the crowd and began to evacuate according to Li Tian's plan. Li Tian had not participated in the battle so that he could prepare for the safe evacuation of the crowd at this time. Mo Lin thought that he had surrounded the entire heavenly devil continent. However, he did not know that in the eyes of Lin Yun and the others, Mo Lin's encirclement existed in vain. The crowd could fight and leave as they wished. The three formations were completely useless. As Shao Chun and Lin Yun began to move outside the formation master named Li Wen was still maintaining the formation as usual. He did not notice the slightest difference. Around Li Wen, there were many formation masters from the great devil world. However, at this time, a cold light flashed in Li Wen's eyes. Without any warning, he suddenly burst out and pointed at the formation master around him. This formation master could be considered Li Wen's master. He was also one of the three most powerful formation masters in the great devil world. Unfortunately, he did not react at this time. Or rather, he did not expect Li Wen to suddenly burst out and attack him directly. Moreover, Li Wen's strength was actually so strong. The result of a sneak attack by an Ancestor Realm expert was naturally predictable. The finger light directly penetrated the formation master's chest, and the aura of death hit him in the face. The formation master looked at Li Wen and said in disbelief, "Ancestor Realm, you are not Li Wen. Who are you?" It was only now that the formation master realized that the Li Wen in front of him was not the real Li Wen. Hearing this, Li Wen smiled slightly. Then his face changed. He was Li Tian of the Cloud Palace. The real Li Wen had been killed long ago. It had been Li Tian in disguise this entire time. However, after so many days, not a single person suspected him. Seeing the formation master's fear and anger, Li Tian chuckled. "Your disciple died long ago, but now you can join him in hell. You're from the Cloud Palace?" In the end, the formation master had realized everything, but it was too late. Even if he had known, there was nothing he could have done. Who would have thought that the real Li Wen had been killed long ago, and that Li Tian had been pretending to be Li Wen all this time? No one had noticed anything strange. Glaring angrily at Li Tian, the formation master knew that he did not have long to live. Eyes filled with hatred, he said, "Despicable Cloud Palace. But even so, what can you do? The three formations have been completed. Even if you pretend to be Li Wen, do you think you can help them escape? Let me tell you, if there's even the slightest disturbance in the formations, Sect Master Mo Lin will know immediately. You won't be able to escape." Begging for a monthly vote, begging for a recommendation. End of chapter. Chapter 2588. He did not expect that the people of the Yun Palace had been hiding around him all this time. The Array Grandmaster was furious and regretful, but what was done was done. It was useless to say anything. However, in his opinion, even if Li Tian killed him, what could he do? It was impossible for him to break the formation. He did not expect that the people of the Yun Palace had been hiding around him all this time. The Array Grandmaster was furious and regretful, but what was done was done. It was useless to say anything. However, in his opinion, even if Li Tian killed him, what could he do? It was impossible for him to break the formation. In other words, as long as Li Tian tampered with the formation, Mo Lin would notice it immediately. Then, Mo Lin would kill Li Tian to avenge him. The three formations were more like sensing formations than trapping formations. As long as there was the slightest change, Mo Lin would be able to sense it immediately. After all, Mo Lin was not stupid enough to stop Lin Yun with the three formations that had been set up temporarily. The three formations were more like an early warning. However, after hearing the Array Grandmaster's words, Li Tian did not care at all. He smiled and said, "How could I not think of such a simple problem? Therefore, when I was carving the formation, I secretly tampered with it. Now, as long as I am in a specific position of the formation, even if I tear a hole, Mo Lin will not notice it. Just like this." As he spoke, Li Tian pointed his finger at the array. Immediately, the Array Master tore a hole in the array. Seeing this, the Array Master was stunned. In terms of attainments in the Tao of formations, Li Tian was not inferior to this Formation Grandmaster in the slightest. In fact, he was much stronger than this Formation Grandmaster. Therefore, the Formation Grandmaster did not notice some of the tricks he had played. Everything was premeditated. When the Array Grandmaster saw the hole in the formation, he knew that Mo Lin could not trap Lin Yun and the rest. Lin Yun and the rest could leave easily. Seeing the Array Grandmaster's changing expression, Li Tian smiled faintly and said, "Okay, rest in peace." With that, the Array Grandmaster's eyes dimmed, and he died on the spot. After killing the Array Grandmaster, Li Tian quickly tore a hole in the three formations. He was just waiting for Lin Yun and the rest to arrive. As for the location, he had already told Lin Yun before, so there would be no problem. About an hour later, Lin Yun and the rest appeared outside the formation. They successfully escaped from the three formations through the hole that Li Tian had torn and did not attract any attention. Mo Lin knew nothing about it. After Lin Yun and the rest successfully passed through the three formations, Li Tian waved his hand, and the hole in the formation was instantly restored. It was impossible to tell that someone had passed through the formation. Li Tian had already disguised himself as the Array Grandmaster of the Great Devil World and hid there. Mo Lin would never have thought that the three formations were useless in the eyes of Lin Yun and the rest when he gave the order to draw the formation. After successfully receiving Lin Yun and the rest out of the Heavenly Devil Continent, Lin Yun looked at the crowd and smiled. "Let's go. We're really tired after fighting for so many days. Let's find a place to have a good rest." With that, the crowd left slowly. They were not worried about being chased. At this time, Mo Lin was probably still searching for Lin Yun and the rest in the Heavenly Devil Continent. He did not expect that Lin Yun and the rest had already left the Heavenly Devil Continent. After a whole day, Mo Lin led many experts from the Great Devil World to search for Lin Yun and the rest in the Heavenly Devil Continent. However, a day had passed, and there was still no result. At this time, Mo Lin began to suspect that Lin Yun and the rest had already left the Heavenly Devil Continent. Therefore, he sent people to check the formation. However, the result was that the formation was intact, and there was no sign of it being damaged. Thousands of troops and horses after receiving this result. Mo Lin said with doubt in his eyes, "If the formation is not damaged, why can't we find them? Pass down the order. We have to find them even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground." Lin Yun and the rest were almost exhausted. As long as Lin Yun and the rest were completely trapped, Mo Lin was confident that he could kill them directly. He did not realize that Lin Yun and the rest had already left the great devil world. Or rather, Mo Lin was very confident in the three formations. If Lin Yun and the rest had really left, he would definitely have noticed it. However, until now, Mo Lin did not feel the slightest fluctuation from the formation. After confirming that Lin Yun and the rest were definitely still in the heavenly devil continent, they searched for another 3 days. During these 3 days, the entire heavenly devil continent could be said to have been turned over. Every inch of the continent was searched, but there was still no trace of Lin Yun and the rest. As for where Lin Yun and the rest were at this time, they had already left the heavenly devil continent and arrived on a small continent in the great devil world. At this time, they were comfortably drinking wine in a small city. After 3 days, everyone's injuries were almost healed. At this time, they were drinking and teasing Mo Lin. "Palace Master, do you think Mo Lin is still looking for us in the heavenly devil continent?" The monk said with a treacherous smile after taking a big gulp of wine. Upon hearing this, Lin Yun said with amusement, "I think so. After all, no matter how stupid a person is, there will be a day when he comes to his senses." After they left, Mo Lin searched the heavenly devil continent with great fanfare for 4 days. However, he did not find any trace of them. He must have suspected something. Perhaps Mo Lin already felt that something was amiss. Lin Yun was right. At this time, in the heavenly devil continent, Mo Lin's face was gloomy. He looked at the 2 formation masters kneeling in front of him. The murderous intent in his eyes was about to materialize. It was as if he wanted to cut them into pieces. "Didn't you say that there would be no problem with the 3 formations? Didn't you say that as long as Lin Yun attacked the formations, I would be able to sense it immediately? Then why didn't I sense anything and the formations are intact, but Lin Yun and the rest escaped from the heavenly devil continent?" Just as Lin Yun thought, after searching for 4 days, Mo Lin did feel that something was amiss. Therefore, he began to check the formations. Although the 3 formations were intact, Mo Lin still found a problem. One of the formation masters had disappeared. His disciple, Li Wen, had also disappeared. The mysterious disappearance of the 2 made Mo Lin instantly certain that Lin Yun and the rest must have escaped from the heavenly devil continent. It was ridiculous that they had spared no effort to search for them for 4 days. Needless to say, Lin Yun was probably laughing at him at this time. He felt like an idiot who had been fooled by Lin Yun. Therefore, when he looked at the 2 formation masters in front of him, Mo Lin wanted to tear them apart. They had boasted in the beginning, but in the end, they still could not stop Li Yun. They were simply useless. Chapter 2589. None of the 3 spirit arrays worked. Lin Yun and the others escaped from the heavenly demon continent easily under his nose. They wanted to kill Lin Yun's group at all costs, and in this battle, the heavenly demon continent had also lost many cultivators, especially Emperor Realm and End Realm cultivators. The number of casualties could only be described as disastrous. Even so, even after paying a huge price, he still couldn't catch Lin Yun and the others. This made Mo Lin furious. Looking at the 2 array masters in front of him, Mo Lin really wanted to kill them. However, after hesitating for a while, he chose to give up. After all, an array master was still very useful to the great demon world. Now that an array grandmaster had already died, if these 2 people were also killed, then there would be no more array grandmasters in the great devil world. Mo Lin knew that it was unrealistic to rely on the spirit arrays to stop Lin Yun. After all, with Lin Yun's cultivation and combat power, the spirit arrays could only trap her for a moment at most. It wouldn't have any substantial effect at all. He failed again. This time, he used almost the entire power of the great demon world. Even so, Lin Yun still escaped in the end. Moreover, Xiao Chun had broken through to the ancestor realm. As a result, the matter of the Great Thousand World was even more difficult to deal with. The thought of giving up on the Great Thousand World secretly arose in his heart. After all, in the current situation, the benefits outweighed the disadvantages. Because of the orders of the guys in the origin world, Mo Lin had been attacking the Great Thousand World. However, he was always stopped by Lin Yun and Mu Ling Xian. For the sake of the Great Thousand World, the Demon Abyss had paid a huge price. Mo Lin had to seriously consider whether such a price was worth it to take down the Great Thousand World. Because even if they took down the Great Thousand World, what benefits would the Great Demon World get? The most important thing was the origin energy. Mo Lin couldn't get it all. Only the cultivators of the Great Thousand World could get the origin energy of the Great Thousand World. This was something that everyone knew. For the sake of the Great Thousand World, they had paid such a heavy price. It was really not worth it. At the same time, Mo Lin had already guessed Lin Yun's purpose. She wanted to force him to withdraw Mo, he, and the others from the primordial world. Mo Lin fell into deep thought alone. He knew that now was not the time to fight to the death with Lin Yun and the others. It was completely unnecessary. However, if he wanted to solve the problem at hand, he could only give up on the operation in the Great Thousand World. He could not make up his mind. At the same time, just as Mo Lin was in a dilemma, Lin Yun and the rest, who had been resting for a few days, started to move again. Xiao Chun had successfully broken through to the Ancestor Realm, but Lin Yun still had no intention of retreating. This was because Mo Lin had not ordered Mo and the others to retreat. Hence, Lin Yun wanted to add fuel to the fire and force Mo Lin to withdraw Mo and the other experts from the Devil Abyss. Attack the Spirit Vein in a small city. The City Lord's mansion had long been controlled by Lin Yun and the others. At this moment in the main hall, everyone was gathered together to discuss what to do next. Upon hearing that Lin Yun wanted to attack the Spirit Vein, Lin Hu asked doubtfully. In response, Lin Yun smiled and said, "Yes, we're going to attack the Spirit Vein. However, this time, we're not going to snatch it. We're going to destroy it directly. As a powerful universe, the Great Devil World has many spirit veins. However, no matter how many spirit veins there are, they will not be able to withstand our destruction. Moreover, it is very difficult to defend the spirit vein. Mo Lin can't do it perfectly. This is our chance." They did not intend to attack the local sects in the Great Devil World. After the previous incident, the major sects in the Great Devil World must have been prepared. At this time, it was obviously not the best choice to attack these sections. It was even very likely that they would be surrounded by Mo Lin again. The spiritual meridian was different. The spiritual meridian was scattered. Almost every continent had a spiritual meridian. Even Mo Lin could not guard every spiritual meridian. Moreover, Lin Yun did not seem to be a treasure. However, it was definitely the life gate of any universe. Think about it. If a universe did not have a spirit vein, what would the result be? It was estimated that the martial arts of the entire universe would be destroyed. Therefore, Mo Lin would definitely not watch the spirit vein be destroyed one by one. The spirit vein was the life gate of the Great Devil World. It was something that Mo Lin could not give up. It was something that all warriors had to use for cultivation. Therefore, Lin Yun directly targeted the spirit vein. Naturally, no one had any objections to Lin Yun's idea. Attacking the spirit vein was indeed the best choice. Moreover, they could also force Mo Lin to make a choice in the shortest time possible. After making a decision, everyone immediately started to act. This way, there was a spirit vein on the continent. Although the scale was not big, it was very low. With the strength of Lin Yun and the others, they could easily destroy it. As for the guards of the spirit vein, they were useless in their eyes. They directly left the city and walked in the direction of the spirit vein. Not long after, the group of people arrived outside the spirit vein. They did not hide their figures and swaggered in. When the warrior in charge of the guard saw Lin Yun and the others, he immediately stopped them. "Stop! Who are you?" The guard were not from the Demon Abyss. They were disciples of a big force on the continent. In the eyes of Lin Yun and the others, the cultivation of these disciples was extremely low. Without replying, Lin Hu waved his hand and immediately slapped the disciples away. They did not even have the strength to fight back, let alone stop Lin Yun and the others. Just like that, they openly broke into the spirit vein. As the only spirit vein on the continent, there were naturally experts guarding it. Therefore, when Lin Yun and the others walked into the spirit vein, an expert with cultivation in the comprehension state appeared in front of everyone. However, when he saw Lin Yun and the others, his face instantly darkened. As an expert in the comprehension state, he naturally knew a lot of things that ordinary people did not know. He also heard that Lin Yun had led people to break into the great devil world and wreak havoc everywhere. He had seen the portraits of Lin Yun and the others before. Now that he saw the real person, the expert in the comprehension state naturally recognized them immediately. His face was solemn and he was stunned. In response, Lin Yun only smiled slightly. "It seems that you know who we are. In that case, please go back and pass a message that we want this spirit vein." She did not intend to kill anyone. After all, killing a comprehension state warrior would not affect the great devil world much. Mo Lin would not care about it. Therefore, the purpose of Lin Yun and the others was to destroy the spirit vein. Seeking collection, seeking monthly votes, seeking recommendation. End of chapter. Chapter 2590. A comprehension stage cultivator was indeed not worthy of their attention. After speaking, the crowd directly walked forward, completely ignoring the comprehension stage cultivator. With regards to this, the comprehension stage cultivator clearly did not dare to obstruct them in the slightest. A comprehension stage cultivator was indeed not worthy of their attention. After speaking, the crowd directly walked forward, completely ignoring the comprehension stage cultivator. With regards to this, the comprehension stage cultivator clearly did not dare to obstruct them in the slightest. After Lin Yun and the rest left, the comprehension state warrior hurriedly took out a voice transmission talisman and contacted his sect, reporting the appearance of Lin Yun and the rest. However, this was not a threat to Lin Yun and the rest. Lin, who easily destroyed the spiritual vein. They had never thought of taking the spirit stones from the spirit vein. Although these spirit stones were a necessity for all cultivators, it was definitely not suitable for Lin Yun and the others to bring these spirit stones with them under the current circumstances. Directly destroying them would be the best choice. The spiritual vein was destroyed by Lin Yun and the rest. At the same time, Mo Lin, who was still in the heavenly demon continent, immediately learned about the whereabouts of Lin Yun and the rest. Now, in the great demon world, as long as someone saw Lin Yun and the rest, Mo Lin would know immediately. They had indeed escaped from the heavenly demon continent. Although Mo Lin was angry, he could do nothing about it. He could only rush to the continent where Lin Yun and the rest were. However, given the distance between the two places, even though Mo Lin was faster, Lin Yun and the rest had already disappeared without a trace when he arrived. Lin Yun and the rest had escaped. Moreover, the spiritual vein was completely destroyed. Looking at the messy spiritual vein, the frost python in Mo Lin's eyes became more vigorous. Logically speaking, a spiritual vein did not have much impact on the great demon world. It could even be said that it was not a big deal. What really made Mo Lin angry was that he could not do anything to Lin Yun. It was as if he had always been led by Lin Yun by the nose. No matter what happened, he was always one step behind. Every time he arrived with his men, Lin Yun would have already withdrawn with her men. Mo Lin was in the great devil world, but he could not do anything to Lin Yun. That was what made Mo Lin most angry. Mo Lin clenched his fists and felt like he was being played. He wanted to tear Lin Yun apart. If Lin Yun was still there, Mo Lin would not hesitate to kill Lin Yun even if he had to die together with her. It was a pity that Lin Yun was not around. No matter how angry Mo Lin was, there was nothing he could do. Lin Yun and the rest, who had no idea that Mo Lin was infuriated, had already left the mainland and were heading to their next destination in the spatial spirit boat. Next, Lin Yun would continue to attack the spiritual veins in the Great Devil World so that Mo Lin would have no time to take care of them. In the end, he would have to withdraw Mo and the rest from the primordial world. As long as Mo Lin withdrew Mo and the rest, the evil sect would naturally be alone. Based on Lin Yun's understanding of the evil sect, he would definitely not continue to persist. With this idea in mind, Lin Yun ordered everyone to split into two groups. Xiao Chun, the monk, the Taoist priest, Ning Shuang, and Li Tian were in one group. Lin Yun, Lin Hu, and Mu Bei were in another group. Splitting into two groups was to better entangle the experts of the Great Devil World so that they would not know how to defend. After making the arrangements, Lin Yun specially reminded Xiao Chun, now that you have broken through to the Ancestor Realm, you will not improve much even if you continue to fight. You should pay more attention to your safety. There is no need to fight to the death with the warriors of the Great Devil World. You can't be surrounded. Otherwise, it will be very dangerous. In a word, if you advance, I will retreat. If the enemy retreats, I will advance. There was no need to fight the warriors of the Great Devil World head-on. It was meaningless. As long as they forced Mo Lin to withdraw Mo and the rest, Lin Yun and the rest would have completed their mission. Xiao Chun also nodded in response. After breaking through to the Ancestor Realm, Xiao Chun also felt that it was not suitable for him to continue to break through in his current situation. Cultivation paid attention to balance between tension and relaxation. In order to break through to the Ancestor Realm, Xiao Chun could be said to have used the most extreme method. He had used the crisis of life and death to squeeze out his potential. In this way, he had successfully broken through to the Ancestor Realm. However, although this method had a miraculous effect, it was obviously impossible to use it frequently. It was not beneficial to constantly squeeze out one's potential. It might even be counterproductive. Therefore, after breaking through to the Ancestor Realm, it was time for Xiao Chun to relax a little, especially in terms of cultivation. He should temporarily postpone the pace of continuing to break through. Xiao Chun understood this and also understood Lin Yun's intentions. She was afraid that she would be surrounded by the powerhouses of the Great Devil World because of a moment of impulse. Then, the gains would not make up for the losses. Moreover, to be honest, although the actions of Xiao Chun and the others this time made Mo Lin furious and had a headache, in fact, everyone was walking on a tightrope throughout the entire process. If they were not careful, they might pay a heavy price. To put it simply, if Li Tian had made a slight mistake in the Heavenly Devil Continent, everyone would not have been able to leave the Heavenly Devil Continent. Then, everyone would probably end up badly. Mo Lin was angry, but this was his base camp after all. It was the Great Devil World. Therefore, he could make mistakes and make mistakes. At worst, he would let Lin Yun and the others escape. However, Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others could not do so. Because this was the Great Devil World, everyone could not be the slightest bit careless and could not make any mistakes, not even once. Because of one mistake, it was very likely that everyone would pay with their lives. Thinking about it, if they were completely surrounded by Mo Lin, how much hope would they have of escaping? Even if someone could escape, there would definitely be someone who would stay in the Great Devil World forever. Thus, he had to be extremely cautious on this trip, especially after splitting up. In any case, Lin Yun only had one goal, and that was to destroy the spirit vein. There was no need to get entangled with the great demonic world's cultivators, and he couldn't get caught up in a fight. Moreover, Lin Yuan and the others, who were in the Hongmeng world at this time, would also cooperate with her. Lin Yun had already contacted Mu Lingxian and asked him to continue to put pressure on Mo He and the others in the Hongmeng world. With a two-pronged approach, they would force Mo He and the others to retreat. Pressure was to constantly create pressure on Mo Lin so that he would have no choice but to compromise and give up on the Great Thousand World in the face of this huge pressure. After personally instructing them, everyone split up. Xiao Chun, monk, Taoist priest, Ning Shuang, and Li Tian went in a different direction from Lin Yun and the others. At the same time, during this period in the Hongmeng world, Lin Yuan and the others took the initiative to attack almost every day, which annoyed Mo He and the others. There was almost no time to rest. After the battle ended, Lin Yuan and the others came again before they could even catch their breath. Moreover, they didn't even give them a chance to speak before attacking. Chapter 2591. The continuous entanglement of Lin Yuan and the others gave Mo He a headache. Coupled with the matter of the great devil world, Mo He and the others were even more upset. The continuous entanglement of Lin Yuan and the others gave Mo He and the others a headache. Coupled with the matter of the great devil world, Mo He and the others were even more upset. Mo He and the others were naturally aware of what had happened in the great devil world. They also knew that Mo Lin had been enraged several times because of this matter. However, he had not managed to get rid of Lin Yun and the others. Not to mention killing them, they could not even expel them. Many warriors in the great devil world had been injured or killed because of this. The pressure in front of them was increasing, and the great devil world behind them was in chaos. This made Mo He and the others want to retreat. It was not that they were afraid of Lin Yuan and the others, but there was no benefit to being in a stalemate here. In addition, it was impossible for Lin Yun and the others to retreat voluntarily. After all, this was the Hongmeng world. How could Lin Yuan and the others retreat? Wouldn't that be tantamount to letting Mo He and the others enter directly? Therefore, Lin Yuan and the others would definitely fight to the death. Moreover, Mu Lingxian was still in charge of the Hongmeng world. Although Mu Lingxian had not made a move so far, his name alone was enough to intimidate Mo He and the others. Mu Lingxian had not chosen to make a move so far. Firstly, he felt that he would lose face if he made a move. After all, Mo Lin and the others had not made a move personally. Secondly, he did not want to escalate the situation. All of Lin Yun's actions in the great demonic world were to relieve the pressure in the primordial world. Once Mu Lingxian personally took action, even if Mo Lin couldn't free himself, the person from the evil sect wouldn't just stand by and watch. It was obviously impossible for a world master to make a move on his subordinates without restraint. Once things developed to this point, Lin Yun's efforts in the great devil world would all be in vain. At that time, even if Mo Lin wanted to withdraw Mo He and the others, he would have to consider the reputation of the evil sect. Therefore, Mu Lingxian had endured until now and had not made a move. But even so, Mo and the others couldn't just ignore Mu Lingxian. After all, who could guarantee that a wild beast wouldn't bite? Due to various reasons, Mu Lingxian had yet to personally take part in the battle. However, if Mu Lingxian suddenly took action one day, it would definitely be a fatal blow to Mo He and the others. It would be enough to make them pay a heavy price. Therefore, even though Mu Lingxian was completely watching from the sidelines, Mo He and the others had to divert some of their attention to guard against Mu Lingxian's sudden attack. The pressure on Lin Yuan and the others was getting heavier and heavier. They didn't give Mo and the others a chance to catch their breaths. The situation on the Grand Mist World side was slowly reversing. Lin Yuan and the others were gradually taking the initiative. On the Great Devil World side, Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others were progressing smoothly. Just as Lin Yun had thought at the beginning, there were many spiritual veins in the Great Devil World, and Mo Lin could not take care of everything. Therefore, they did not encounter any resistance. After all, with their cultivation, Emperor Realm and Half-Step Ancestor Realm cultivators could not stop them at all. Moreover, how many Ancestor Realm masters were there in the Great Devil World? Moreover, Mo He and the others, who were still in the Grand Mist World, were even fewer. It was obviously unrealistic to rely on such a small number of people to guard against all the spiritual veins in the Great Devil World. Therefore, Mo Lin could not do anything about the actions of Lin Yun and the others. After successfully destroying a spiritual vein, Xiao Chun and the others did not stay for long. They chose to leave immediately. Without Lin Yun, Li Tian became the temporary leader of Xiao Chen's team. Xiao Chun did not have any objection to this. After all, Xiao Chun had witnessed Li Tian's strength with his own eyes. Li Tian's wisdom could be said to be flawless. After a few days, Xiao Chun admired Li Tian's ability even more. Basically, the movements of the great devil world had been calculated by Li Tian, which spirit vein had powerhouses guarding it, and which spirit vein had insufficient guards. Li Tian could see it all very clearly. Because of this, under Li Tian's command, Xiao Chun and the others seemed to be very relaxed after destroying several spiritual veins in a row. There was no pressure at all. It was no wonder that Li Tian was the chief strategist of the Cloud Palace. Xiao Chun had also come to realize that a sect needed someone like Li Tian in charge. After all, although strength was the most important indicator to measure a sect, and in many cases, strength was the most critical factor that determined everything. However, if a sect was made up of reckless people who were hesitant and lacked wisdom, the result would naturally not be good. This was certain. After all, many things could not be solved blindly by relying on strength alone. In other words, with a person like Li Tian in charge, Cloud Palace could often obtain the greatest benefits with the least damage. In the long run, this was obviously very important for the development of Cloud Palace. Riding on the spatial spirit boat, they continued to rush to the next destination. On the way, Li Tian seemed to have seen through Xiao Chen's thoughts. While making tea, he smiled and said, "Thinking about your sword sect?" With Li Tian's intelligence, it was not difficult for him to guess what he was thinking. Therefore, Xiao Chen admitted frankly, "Indeed, I was thinking that it would be great if my sword sect could have someone like Senior. Many things could be easily solved." Xiao Chun was not lying at all. Xiao Chun really admired Li Tian and was eager to have someone like Li Tian in the sword sect. Hearing this, Li Tian smiled and personally brewed a cup of tea for Xiao Chun. Then, he said casually, "Everyone has their own value, has their own irreplaceable advantages, and has a unique position. Among the 9 palace masters of the 9 palaces above the clouds, my talent is the weakest. In fact, I am no different from an ordinary person. Don't look down on my progenitor realm cultivation. You should know that the palace master spent a lot of effort to help me break through to the progenitor realm." Li Tian's words sounded a little self-deprecating, especially when it came to his own cultivation. He was not much stronger than an ordinary person, but he still became one of the palace masters of the 9 palaces above the clouds. Moreover, he was an irreplaceable think tank of Cloud Palace. After saying this, Li Tian took a sip of tea and changed the topic. "You want to find someone like me, but you don't know that someone like me has always been by your side. It's just that you have never noticed." Xiao Chun froze on the spot as soon as he heard those words. He wondered if there was such a person around him. There is someone who could compare to Li Tian? Begging for collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. End of chapter. Chapter 2592. Xiao Chen did not know who Li Tian was referring to, but Li Tian just smiled and did not say anything in the face of Xiao Chen's questioning. In this regard, Xiao Chen was very unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. After all, he could not force Li Tian, could he? Xiao Chen did not know who Li Tian was referring to, but Li Tian just smiled and did not say anything in the face of Xiao Chen's questioning. In this regard, Xiao Chen was very unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. After all, he could not force Li Tian, could he? After chatting with Li Tian for a while, the group arrived at their next destination, which was also the next spirit vein that Xiao Chun and the others were about to destroy. The result was obvious. Although this spirit vein had been prepared for a long time, there was no demon abyss master guarding it. With only a few Emperor Realm masters, Xiao Chun and the others were unable to stop Xiao Chun and the others. Therefore, it was easy for Xiao Chun and the others to completely destroy this spirit vein. This was already the 18th spirit vein that Xiao Chun and the others had destroyed. This was not counting the harvest that Lin Yun and the others had obtained. In the face of Xiao Chun, Lin Yun and the others' wanton destruction in the great demon world, Mo Lin tried his best to stop them. However, There were so many spirit veins in the great demon world. Mo Lin did not know where Lin Yun and the others' next target would be, so it was impossible for him to make arrangements in advance. Manpower was limited, and ordinary cultivators could not stop Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others at all. They could only watch as spirit veins were destroyed one after another. 10 days passed in a row. In these 10 days, Mo Lin heard the most news about another spirit vein being destroyed and Lin Yun and the others escaping unscathed. Mo Lin was angry at the beginning, but now he was helpless in the face of such news. Especially after Xiao Chun broke through, Lin Yun changed her strategy and did not give the Demon Abyss experts a chance to fight. Previously, Lin Yun was not afraid of battle. However, she did not give them the chance to do so now. Every time Mo Lin and his men arrived, Lin Yun and the others had already disappeared. This made Mo Lin feel as though he had punched cotton with all his might. It was very annoying. At the same time, it also made the major forces of the great demonic world feel as if every bush and tree was an enemy. Who knew where Lin Yun and the others would appear in the next moment? Perhaps they would suffer in the next second. In 10 days, the entire great devil world was almost turned upside down by Lin Yun and the others. One by one, the spirit veins were destroyed. Xiao Chun and the others have been on the road for the past 10 days. Sitting in the spatial spirit boat, Tyrant didn't care about his image at all. He was gnawing on a drumstick and drinking wine. Haha, I don't know how Mo Lin feels now. I guess he's mad. Hearing Tyrant's words, Li Tian, who was beside him, said faintly, he's not mad. After the initial anger, Mo Lin has probably calmed down now. Next, it depends on his choice. After all, Mo Lin was the world lord of the universe. If he lost his mind, it would be too unreasonable. At the same time, it would be underestimating him. According to Li Tian, Mo Lin was indeed very angry at the beginning because Lin Yun's provocation made him feel ashamed. However, after the attack and the encirclement, Mo Lin should have gradually calmed down. Next, it depended on Mo Lin's choice. In fact, there was one thing that Lin Yun did not mention. That was this operation was a gamble from the beginning. The biggest variable in this gamble was Mo Lin. On the surface, Mo Lin seemed to have been passive and did not have the right to choose at all. However, that was not the case. In fact, the right to choose had always been in Mo Lin's hands. 20 to 50,000 at this time, Mo Lin was faced with such a choice. His choice was directly related to the direction of the future. Li Tian and Lin Yun could set up such a trap, but there was no way to control the final direction of the situation. After all, no matter how smart Li Tian was, it was impossible for him to control Mo Lin's choice. Now, there were two choices in front of Mo Lin. One was to choose to compromise and withdraw Mo, he, and the others from the Hongmeng world. Then, Lin Yun and the others would leave the Great Devil world, and both sides would have a temporary truce. As for the second choice, it was to fight to the death and bring people to attack the macro world directly. However, in this way, the Great Devil world would definitely be destroyed. Of course, the macro world would not end well either. Mo Lin must be very clear now that it was almost impossible to catch Lin Yun. This was because Lin Yun was too agile. With the speed of the warriors in the Great Devil world, it was impossible to catch up with her. Therefore, they could only attack instead of defend. Both sides directly exchanged their base camps. Mo Lin did not want the Great Devil world, and Lin Yun did not want the macro world either. This was Mo Lin's choice. Now, it was time for him to make a choice. Of course, from Lin Yun and Li Tian's point of view, they did not want Mo Lin to choose the second choice. This was because it was almost equivalent to a life and death struggle. Even though Lin Yun could destroy the Great Devil world, Mo Lin could also destroy the macro world. Li Tian was a little worried about Mo Lin's choice. He did not know if Mo Lin would choose a life and death struggle. While Li Tian was a little worried, Mo Lin, who had returned to the Demon Abyss, was also making the same choice. At this time, Mo Lin was sitting alone on the stone bench in his residence. There was no anger on his face. As Li Tian said, After the initial anger, Mo Lin gradually calmed down. With a calm expression, Mo Lin looked at an expert from the demon abyss in front of him and asked faintly, "Do you think it's worthwhile for us to fight to the death with Lin Yun?" Hearing Mo Lin's words, the expert from the demon abyss immediately understood what Mo Lin was thinking. He frowned and kept silent for a while before saying, "Sect Master, now is not the time to start a war." "Yes, now is not the time to start a war. Lin Yun is probably aware of this." To put it bluntly, Lin Yun's action this time was more to disgust herself. In fact, it did not have much impact on the Great Devil World as a whole. The Great Devil World was rich and imposing. It did not matter if they lost a few hundred spiritual veins. Lin Yun obviously knew this, so she was not afraid. She did not completely challenge Mo Lin's bottom line and forced Mo Lin to make a choice. After all, Mo Lin could not let Lin Yun and the others continue to cause trouble endlessly. From the overall situation, now was not the time to start a war. Moreover, the old guys in the Origin world were obviously not willing to see such an outcome. Since they could not start a war, they could only choose to compromise. They had to withdraw Mo, he, and the others and reconcile with Lin Yun temporarily. Mo Lin exhaled and said to the expert from the demon abyss in front of him, "Release the news that I will meet Lin Yun alone at Heavenly Devil Ridge tomorrow." Mo Lin wanted to meet Lin Yun personally. He was not worried that Lin Yun would refuse because this was the result that Lin Yun had been waiting for. At the same time, when the news came out, it proved that Mo Lin had made a choice and had no choice but to compromise. Chapter 2593. Lin Yun could easily find out about the news that Mo Lin had released. Hearing that Mo Lin wanted to meet her alone, Lin Yun smiled faintly and did not refuse. Lin Yun could easily find out about the news that Mo Lin had released. Hearing that Mo Lin wanted to meet her alone, Lin Yun smiled faintly and did not refuse. She told Xiao Chun, Lin Hu, and the others to find a safe place to wait for her. As for herself, she would go to Omen Ridge alone to meet Mo Lin. Omen Ridge was originally located in the Omen continent. However, because of the previous battle, the entire Omen continent had almost fallen apart. The original continent had been directly torn apart into 5 small continents. Of course, there are also many fragments. Omen Ridge should be the only place that was still intact. The reason why Mo Lin had arranged to meet Lin Yun at Omen Ridge was that he was afraid that Lin Yun would be suspicious. Otherwise, Mo Lin could have arranged for them to meet in the Demon Abyss. Mo Lin wanted to meet Lin Yun at Omen Ridge because he wanted to tell her that he had no intention of ambushing her. She could come without any worries. Regarding this, Li Tian, Lin Hu, and the others were not worried about Lin Yun at all. They also did not insist on going alone. First of all, at this point, Mo Lin would not make such a stupid choice to ambush Lin Yun. This would only make things difficult for both sides. Second, Lin Yun went alone. Even if Mo Lin had set an ambush, Lin Yun would be more likely to succeed if she went alone. Of course, Li Tian and the others would provide support outside to ensure that nothing went wrong. Lin Yun went to Omen Ridge alone. After Li Tian and the others met up, they also went to the void not far from Omen Ridge to wait. Looking at Xiao Chun, who was standing on the deck with a worried face, Tyrant said heartlessly, "Xiao Chun, don't worry. Even if Mo Lin and the others set an ambush, they can't do anything to Palace Master." Tyrant knew that Xiao Chun was worried about Lin Yun. In response, Li Tian came to Xiao Chun and said faintly, "It's not as easy as you think to besiege and kill a World Master. It's even more difficult when Palace Master has nothing to worry about. If everyone went together, Lin Yun would have to take care of them. Perhaps Mo Lin's chances of success would be higher. However, Lin Yun went alone. She had nothing to worry about. She would pay a price, and she could retreat. Everyone was not worried about Lin Yun's safety. At the same time, Lin Yun also went to Omen Ridge as promised. Along the way, Lin Yun did not notice anything unusual. When Lin Yun arrived at Omen Ridge, Mo Lin was waiting for her. He was indeed alone. There was a wooden table and 2 futons on the main peak of Omen Ridge. Mo Lin sat cross-legged. There was no one else around. When he saw Lin Yun arrive, Mo Lin just looked up and said faintly, "Sit." Lin Yun did not stand on ceremony. She sat directly opposite Mo He. The two of them sat facing each other and looked at each other. Mo Lin still said angrily, "Lin Yun, aren't you going to leave? If you leave the great devil world now, I can pretend that nothing happened." Mo He knew what Lin Yun wanted, but he still wasn't willing to compromise. However, Lin Yun didn't even pay attention to his words. Lin Yun simply sneered and replied, "What do you think? You asked me to come here just to say this? If that's the case, there's no need to talk anymore." Mo Lin knew what Lin Yun wanted. Hence, Lin Yun did not want to hear these meaningless words. Seeing this, Mo He's eyes flashed with anger. However, it was only for a moment. Soon, he regained his composure and said, "You should know what the old guys in the origin world are thinking. It's meaningless for us to fight to the death. I believe you don't want that to happen." "That's right. So what?" Lin Yun said faintly. Indeed, now was not the time to fight to the death. Lin Yun knew this very well. However, Lin Yun did not want to fight to the death. Instead, she wanted Mo Lin to withdraw Mo He and the others. It was that simple. Mo Lin had already defeated Mo Lin. Since he was willing to come today, he had already made his choice. He was only saying these words because he was unwilling to give up. Seeing Lin Yun's stubborn look, Mo Lin looked at Lin Yun coldly. Lin Yun did not avoid his gaze. The two of them looked at each other for a long time. Finally, Mo Lin said, "I can withdraw Mo He and the others. I promise that we will not interfere with anything in the Great Thousand World in the future. However, someone has to compensate for the losses you have caused in the Great Devil World." Mo Lin had no choice but to agree to everything Lin Yun wanted. At the same time, he asked for compensation. Lin Yun smiled faintly. Did the compensation mean anything to Mo Lin? Obviously, he did not. Mo Lin would not be distressed by the loss of hundreds of spirit veins, nor would he be distressed by the destruction of 1 or 2 continents. The reason why he asked for compensation was to disgust Lin Yun and also to save his face. This amount of compensation was basically meaningless to Mo Lin and the entire demon abyss. To put it bluntly, even if Mo Lin was compensated, he would probably use it to reward other forces in the Great Devil World. The smile on Lin Yun's face became brighter. Looking at Mo Lin, she said with a smile, "All right, I'll compensate you." Lin Yun could not be bothered to bargain with Mo Lin over such a small compensation. Seeing that Lin Yun had agreed so readily, Mo Lin was not surprised at all. As they were both world lords, he did not care about the compensation. Naturally, Lin Yun did not care about it either. The negotiation went very smoothly. Mo Lin also promised to send a message to Mo He and the rest today. Tomorrow, Mo He and the rest would leave the primordial world. However, Mo Lin also said that the people from the demon abyss would leave, but he could not do anything about the people from the evil sect. Of course, Mo Lin would also contact the person from the evil sect and persuade him to give up interfering in the affairs of the Great Thousand World. Lin Yun did not care about this at all. She smiled and said, "It doesn't matter as long as the people from the demon abyss leave." If the people from the demon abyss left, how could the people from the evil sect not leave? Unless the person from the evil sect thought that he could fight against the Cloud Palace and the Immortal Palace at the same time. Of course, this was impossible. Unless the person from the evil sect had lost his mind, it was impossible for him to have such an idea. After everything was settled, Mo Lin obviously did not intend to stay any longer. He got up and said coldly to Lin Yun before leaving, "Lin Yun, get out of the Great Devil World as soon as possible. If you have any other ideas, I promise I'll take you down with me regardless of the consequences." After speaking, without waiting for Lin Yun to reply, Mo He disappeared from where he was, begging for your collection, begging for monthly votes, begging for recommendations. End of chapter. Chapter 2594. Mo Lin obviously could not stay with Lin Yun, even for a second. Lin Yun shook her head and smiled bitterly. She did not care too much and stood up to leave. Mo Lin obviously could not stay with Lin Yun, even for a second. Lin Yun shook her head and smiled bitterly. She did not care too much and stood up to leave. Lin Yun could understand Mo Lin's feelings. After all, they had turned the great devil world upside down. If it were not for various reasons, Mo Lin would not have lowered his head. On the way out of Omen Ridge, Lin Yun recalled Mo Lin's expression when he left and could not help but laugh. However, she soon thought of the old guys in the origin world, and her face became solemn. What exactly are these old guys planning? Everything was because of the origin world. Regardless of whether it was Lin Yun or Mo Lin, they could not ignore the origin world. It was the origin of many universes. Moreover, those who could come into contact with the origin world had to be at least at the ancestor realm. This showed how mysterious the origin world was. When Lin Yun thought of the origin world, she felt a headache coming on. She could not figure out what the old guys were planning. However, the goal of the trip to the great devil world this time was successfully achieved. First, Xiao Chun had broken through to the ancestor realm. Then he had successfully forced Mo Lin to withdraw Mo He and the others. He had resolved the war in the Hongmeng world, and the danger in the Great Thousand World had been resolved. When they returned to the spatial spirit boat and saw that Lin Yun had returned safely, Xiao Chun heaved a sigh of relief. He then asked, "Palace Master Lin, how was it? Everything is settled. However, Mo Lin asked me for compensation." "Ha!" Lin Yun laughed when she heard that. Not only Lin Yun, but the rest of the monks, Taoist priests, Lin Hu, and the others also laughed loudly when they heard that. "I didn't expect Mo Lin to be so good at managing his family," the monks said without thinking. Even Xiao Chun was speechless. Mo Lin had no choice but to compromise. However, he was still angry. Otherwise, he would not have asked for compensation. No one cared much about this small amount of compensation. To the Cloud Palace, this amount of compensation was a drop in the bucket. They could just give it to him. When Lin Yun returned to the spatial spirit boat, Mo Lin sent a message to Mo He and the others in the primordial world, telling them to leave the primordial world immediately and return to the demon abyss. When Mo He received Mo Lin's message, he was not surprised at all. It was as though it was only a matter of time. In the Hongmeng world, Mo He and a group of experts from the demon abyss gathered together in a spaceship and told them about Mo Lin's message. Everyone had a complicated look on their faces. This time, the incident in the Great Thousand World was really strange. Furthermore, the demon abyss had paid a heavy price for this. "Get ready to leave. I'll talk to the people from the evil sect," Mo He said faintly as he looked at the crowd. There were some things that Mo He could not interfere with. For example, the incident in the origin world. In the origin world, an ancestor realm expert like Mo He was just a pawn. The people who could really speak were the world masters of the various universes. So, no matter what had happened in the origin world or what those old fellows were planning, it wasn't something Mo He should care about. Mo Lin would deal with it, and all Mo He needed to do was listen to Mo Lin's orders. Moreover, the war in the Hongmeng world was meaningless. They had sacrificed so much for the Great Thousand World. It had already exceeded the benefits that they had gained. It was not worth it to continue fighting. Keep an eye on things. Therefore, Mo He did not object to Mo Lin's order to retreat. He also did not say that he had to fight to the death with Lin Yuan and the others. After the war in the Hongmeng world was over, Mo He and the other experts from the demon abyss retreated from the Hongmeng world. The people from the evil sect followed closely behind. Lin Yun and Gong Nantian did not stop them from leaving. They just watched from afar. Gong Nantian stood side by side and watched the people from the demon abyss and evil sect enter the spatial black hole. He sighed and said, "It's really an eventful period. Those old fellows in the origin world, I can't see through them. It's really an eventful period. I reckon there will be some movement in the origin world soon," Lin Yuan said faintly. The incident in the Great Thousand World this time seemed to be a competition between the Cloud Palace, Immortal Palace, Demon Abyss, and evil sect. However, it was all because of the origin world. The origin world was the first to discover the Great Thousand World. It was also the order of those old fellows in the origin world that caused the competition in the Great Thousand World to be so intense. In the end, the four universes were directly involved. Nothing like this had happened before. Even when the world masters of the Hongmeng world and the Hongmeng world were born, the origin world did not have such a reaction. Their reaction was indeed rather strange, and it could even be said that it was rather confusing. Everyone could see that the old fellows in the origin world were acting strangely. At the same time, in the Righteous Path Alliance in the origin world, three blurry figures sat together on a mountain surrounded by clouds. There was a chessboard at the center, and two of them were playing chess while the third was watching from the side. Chess pieces were constantly falling down. One of them held a black chess piece, and as soon as he made a move, the black chess piece above him instantly turned into a black dragon that soared into the sky. Then, the person who had placed the chess piece said indifferently, "The black dragon has taken form. It's a sign of great chaos." That's not necessarily true. Destruction and establishment is the right path. The other person did not care about the white chess pieces that had been slaughtered to the point that they had abandoned their armor. He chuckled and continued to place his chess pieces in a seemingly casual manner. In an instant, the white chess pieces that had been on the verge of defeat seemed to come back to life. The white chess pieces surrounded the black dragon and slowly nibbled at it. Seeing this scene on the chessboard, the three of them could not help but laugh loudly. Naturally, no one knew about the conversation between the three of them. No one would have thought that they were playing a huge game of chess, using the world as the chessboard and all living beings as chess pieces. Perhaps even the world masters had become chess pieces. Outsiders had no way of knowing what was happening in the origin world. Xiao, Chun, Lin Yun, and the others had left the Great Devil World according to their agreement. Lin Yuan had sent a message saying that Mo, he, and the others had retreated, and so had the people from Evil Sect. Lin Yun and the others naturally did not need to stay in the Great Devil World. Moreover, the current situation was really not suitable to provoke Mo Lin. Even a rabbit would want someone when it was anxious, not to mention that Mo Lin was not a rabbit, but a raging dragon. It was meaningless to provoke him now. Instead, it would be counterproductive. Therefore, Lin Yun and the others did not stay for too long. They directly chose to leave the Great Devil World and prepared to return to the Hongmeng world. Chapter 2595. Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others left the Great Devil World and returned to the Macro World. They did not encounter any danger along the way, and Mo Lin did not use any tricks. It seemed that he really did not want to continue to be in a stalemate with Lin Yun. It would not benefit anyone if this continued. Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others left the Great Devil World and returned to the Macro World. They did not encounter any danger along the way, and Mo Lin did not use any tricks. It seemed that he really did not want to continue to be in a stalemate with Lin Yun. It would not benefit anyone if this continued. The matter in the Great Devil World came to an end. With the departure of Mo Yuan and the Evil Sect experts, the Hongmeng world gradually began to regain its peace. Lin Yuan and the others stayed in the Hongmeng world for a few days. After confirming that Mo Yuan and the Evil Sect experts had really left, they bid farewell and returned to the Macro world. Compared to Lin Yuan and the others, Lin Yun, Xiao Chun, and the others naturally returned to the Macro world one step faster. After arriving at the Cloud Palace, Xiao Chun saw Qin Shiru and the others as soon as he got off the spatial spirit boat. Seeing that Xiao Chun was fine, the girls were secretly relieved. This time, Xiao Chun followed Lin Yun to the Great Devil World. The girls were really worried that Xiao Chun would be in danger. Fortunately, Xiao Chun finally returned safely. They hugged each other, but they did not see Xiao Yao and Xiao Lao. Xiao Chun asked curiously, "Where did the two little ones go?" As they grew older, Xiao Yao and Xiao Lao's personalities became more and more lively. They were just like wild horses out of control. Their curiosity about the outside world also increased day by day. Although they did not dare to tell Xiao Chun, the two boys had expressed their desire to go out and experience more than once in front of Qin Shi and the others. According to their own words, like father, like son, as Xiao Chen's sons, how could they be good for nothings? Therefore, they had to be like their father and become strong. In response to Xiao Chen's question, Bai Hua Fairy smiled and said, "Those two kids went out to train with Lin Feng and Lin Shui." Did he go out to train? Hearing this, Xiao Chen was a little dissatisfied for a moment. These two little fellows were going out to gain strength at such a young age. Wasn't this nonsense? What if there was any danger? Perhaps seeing through Xiao Chen's thoughts, Hundred Flower Fairy smiled and said, "Don't worry, Hong Xiu, Ling Yao, and the others are all going with them. Even Lady Qing Zhu is going with them. Nothing will happen." Qing Zhu, Xiao Chenu, was one of Lin Yun's wives, and was also an ancestor realm cultivator. Hearing this, Xiao Chun was relieved. Thinking of the two boys who were becoming more and more restless, Xiao Chun also secretly decided that after returning to the Great Thousand World, he should arrange for the two to go out and gain strength. Otherwise, it would not be a good idea for them to always protect him. How could flowers that grew up in a greenhouse be able to withstand the attack of a violent storm in the future? Moreover, these two boys always imagined the outside world to be too beautiful. Originally, there was nothing wrong with this for children, but sooner or later, they had to know the dangers of the world. Otherwise, they would become bad people. Although one should not have the intention to harm others, one must be vigilant. Only by experiencing these things personally could one know how to protect oneself. With this thought in mind, Xiao Chun and Lin Yun said goodbye and then returned to their residence. Hong Xiu and Gu Lingyao accompanied Xiao Yao and Xiao Lao out, leaving only Qin Shu, Hundred Flower Fairy, and Tianyue by his side. After not seeing each other for several months, everyone naturally missed each other very much. Naturally, they could not help but be affectionate that night. After a silent night, early the next morning, Xiao Chun asked about Xin Yuan Ling, Long Qing, Jun Wuya, and the others. After learning that they were all out training, Xiao Chun did not think too much about it. Xin Yuan Ling and Long Qing, except for half-step progenitor realm experts, almost no one was their opponent. As for Jun Wuya, there was even less of a need to worry. In addition, this was the macro world, so there should not be too much of a problem. However, many times, things went contrary to one's wishes. Just when Xiao Chun thought that he could accompany Qin Shi and the others in peace for a period of time, some bad news came from the ancient Barrens continent at this time. The purpose of this news was naturally related to the great sage of the ancient Barrens. Some time ago, the appearance of the great sage of the ancient Barrens ruins attracted many warriors from the macro world. Xin Yuan Ling, Long Qing, Dao Ju, Xiao Xiao, and the others were like everyone else. They entered the ruins to see if they could obtain any opportunities. This should have been a good thing, but now things had become a little strange. Those who entered the ruins were fine at first, but after a few days, their life tablets began to shatter. The shattering of the life tablet was equivalent to death. In fact, it was not strange if that was all. After all, the appearance of any ruins was dangerous. Everyone knew this in their hearts. However, the shattering of these life tablets was somewhat different. They were completely shattered, but not broken. Many dense cracks appeared on the life tablets, which meant that the owner of the life tablet should have died. However, the life tablets were not completely shattered, which was very strange. Even in the Cloud Palace, the same thing happened to the life tablets of many disciples. It even attracted Lin Yun's attention at this time. In the Cloud Palace's life tablet hall, Lin Yun, Li Tian, and Xiao Chun, who took the initiative to rush over after hearing the news, looked at the dozens of shattered life tablets in front of them. These life tablets were full of cracks, but they were not completely shattered. Frowning slightly, Lin Yun said faintly, "What's the situation? The life tablets are shattered, but not broken. Does this mean that they are dead? Such a thing has never happened before. However, in my opinion, There can only be one explanation for the life tablets not breaking. Either the soul was destroyed and the body was fine, or the body was destroyed and the soul was fine. Otherwise, such a situation would not occur. Hearing this, Li Tian opened his mouth and said, Li Tian's guess was not unreasonable. This was the only way to explain why the life tablets were not shattered. However, what kind of situation could cause the soul to be destroyed and the body to be fine, or the body to be destroyed and the soul to be fine? Lin Yun and Li Tian were indeed unable to determine what had happened in the ruins of the great saint of the ancients. Xiaochen on the side was also worried. He did not know the situation of Xianyuan Ling and Long Qing. However, their life tablets were still in the Cloud Palace. Xiaochen did not know the situation at all. He could not be sure if the two of them were like the disciples of the Cloud Palace, whose life tablets were shattered but not broken. With some worries in his heart, Xiaochen had to speak up. The answer is in the ruins. If you want to know the result, I think the easiest way is to enter the ruins directly. Xiaochen definitely had to go to the ruins personally. After all, the situation was a little strange. Moreover, there was no news of Xianyuan Ling and Long Qing. Xiaochen naturally could not sit still. Seeking collection, seeking monthly votes, seeking recommendation. End of chapter. Chapter 2597. The great sage of the ancients was a figure who had been dead for many years. At least before the appearance of the Cloud Palace, the great sage of the ancients was already dead, and the era that belonged to him was naturally over. The great sage of the ancients was a figure who had been dead for many years. At least before the appearance of the Cloud Palace, the great sage of the ancients was already dead, and the era that belonged to him was naturally over. However, such a figure who should have been dead for tens of thousands of years was gradually coming back to life. The originally withered corpse was now slowly exuding traces of vitality, just like a withered tree coming back to life. As for where the blood and soul power came from, needless to say, it must have come from the warriors trapped in the sand rain. The outside world could clearly see that the bodies of the warriors were slowly drying up, as if the flesh and blood in their bodies were being sucked dry. Just as Xiao Xiao had guessed, the so-called remains of the great sage of the ancients was a scam from the beginning, a trap, and the person who had arranged all of this was probably the great sage of the ancients himself. Perhaps as early as tens of thousands of years ago, before the fall of the great sage of the ancients, he had already arranged all of this. He had been waiting for such an opportunity to use the temptation of his inheritance and treasures to deceive the warriors of the outside world into entering here, and then devour their flesh and soul power to revive himself. However, such a method was extremely strange, but it was not difficult to accept. After all, an old monster like the great sage of the ancients who had lived for so many years would have some trump cards. Of course, it was impossible for outsiders to know that this resurrection method was actually obtained by the great sage of the ancients by chance. It was not just a simple review method, but also a secret method to break through to the ancestor realm. That's right, through this secret method, it could help people break through to the ancestor realm without the help of the origin energy. Above the ancestor realm was the Lord of the world. However, to break through to the Lord of the world, one must obtain the recognition of the origin energy. Although the great sage of the ancients was amazing in the past, he still did not obtain the recognition of the origin energy. The great sage of the ancients was unwilling to stop at the ancestor realm. Although the ancestor realm experts were already considered heroes and could even achieve immortality, the great sage of the ancients was unwilling to accept this. By chance, the great sage of the ancients had obtained this mystic technique. According to the mystic technique, in order to successfully cultivate this mystic technique, one must experience the cycle of life and death. Upon hearing Li Tian's words, Shao Chun did not hesitate at all. His progenitor realm aura soared into the sky as he prepared to forcefully break the seal left behind by the great sage of the ancients. As Shao Chun's aura erupted, everyone present turned to look at Shao Chun in shock, especially the few half-step ancestor stage experts. They still remembered that when they fought Shao Chun less than a year ago, although Shao Chun's battle strength was extraordinary and did not seem like a half-step ancestor stage expert at all, Shao Chun's cultivation had not yet broken through to the ancestor stage at that time. However, how long had it been since then? Shao Chun had already successfully stepped into the threshold of the ancestor stage. Now, Shao Chun was a true ancestor stage expert. For a moment, everyone present was shocked. Since when was it so easy to break through to the ancestor stage? 101 Chinese network, but why were they stuck at the half-step ancestor stage for so many years? Moreover, there was no progress at all, and the barrier between the realms showed no signs of loosening. Comparisons were odious. However, Shao Chun was clearly not in the mood to pay attention to them at this time. Facing the restriction in front of him, he slashed out with his sword and directly displayed the Emperor's sword. The tip of the sword struck the restriction fiercely. For a moment, layers of ripples appeared on the restriction, but it did not break. However, Shao Chun's attack did not stop at this time. Another 3 sword strikes struck the same spot. If the first attack did not work, then he would try a second attack. If 2 attacks did not work, then he would try a third. Under Shao Chun's relentless attacks, cracks finally appeared on the barrier. Then, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the barrier was finally broken by Shao Chun with a muffled sound. Although Shao Chun's cultivation was only at the initial stage of the ancestor stage, Shao Chun's battle strength was heaven-defying. Therefore, there was no reason that he could not break the restriction left behind by the great sage of the ancients. After the restriction was broken, Shao Chun and Li Tian looked at each other. Then, the two of them rushed directly into the ruins without stopping. Seeing this, many experts around also followed closely behind. With the 2 ancestor stage experts, Shao Chun and Li Tian, opening the way, everyone was naturally not worried at all. After all, the great sage of the ancients was only at the ancestor stage. When he was alive, he might not be a match for Li Tian and Shao Chun, let alone when he was dead. Everyone rushed into the ruins. At the same time, the great sage of the ancients, who was in the ruins, naturally sensed it immediately. In fact, as early as the moment the restriction was broken by Shao Chun, the great sage of the ancients felt that the restriction was broken. Moreover, the one who did it was obviously an ancestor stage expert. Chapter 2599. Shao Chun quickly scanned the corpses that resembled cocoons. He wanted to find Xinyuan Ling and Long Qing, but there were too many corpses. Shao Chun couldn't find them accurately. While Shao Chun was looking for Xinyuan Ling and Long Qing, the figure of the great sage of the ancients slowly walked out of the hall. He was only wearing a pair of simple shorts, and his upper body was naked. However, his complexion was ruddy, and his vitality was vigorous. He didn't look like someone who had been dead for tens of thousands of years. Everyone was stunned when they saw the great sage of the ancients. Then someone recognized the great sage of the ancients. Although the great sage of the ancients had been dead for tens of thousands of years, he was still the most famous expert in the ancient Baron's mainland. Even a continent was named after him. There were statues of the great sage of the ancients in many places in the ancient Baron's mainland. His appearance was almost identical to the great sage of the ancients. Therefore, it wasn't surprising that someone recognized the great sage of the ancients when they saw him. The great sage of the ancients? How is that possible? Someone looked at the great sage of the ancients outside the palace in shock. Shao Chun, Li Tian, and the others looked at the great sage of the ancients. The great sage of the ancients smiled slightly and said, "I didn't expect that after so many years, there are still people who remember me." The corner of his mouth held a playful smile. However, Xiao Chun and Li Tian frowned when they saw the great sage of the ancients who had come back from the dead. From the current situation, they were almost certain that the great sage of the ancients was behind all of this. However, what Xiao Chun and Li Tian couldn't figure out was why the great sage of the ancients was still alive. How could a person who had been dead for tens of thousands of years be resurrected? Or was the great sage of the ancients still alive from the beginning to the end? This wasn't impossible. After all, an Ancestor Realm expert was almost immortal. It wasn't strange for him to live for tens of thousands of years. Xiao Chun locked his gaze directly on the great sage of the ancients and asked coldly, "Are you behind all of this?" If the great sage of the ancients was behind all of this, then Xiao Chun would never let him go. In response to Xiao Chun's question, the great sage of the ancients' smile widened. "I just borrowed their flesh and soul power. I didn't do anything else, right?" The supreme saint of the ancients shrugged as he spoke. It was obvious that he did not take Xiao Chun seriously at all. Naturally, he was able to tell Xiao Chun's level of cultivation at a glance. Xiao Chun was indeed a cultivator of the progenitor realm, but he had only just broken through to the progenitor realm. The great saint of the ancients did not care about his level of cultivation. The great sage of the ancients' fists were famous for being far stronger than Xiao Chen's. Blood suddenly appeared on Xiao Chen's arm, and his skin seemed to be torn apart by the strong pressure. One of Xiao Chen's arms instantly became dripping with blood. An extremely terrifying force swept through Xiao Chen's body. He gritted his teeth and held on. In the end, although Xiao Chun successfully blocked the great sage of the ancient's fist, one of his arms was already stained red with blood. It was an extremely violent and tyrannical force. In Xiao Chen's opinion, the only Ancestor Realm expert who could compete with the great sage of the ancients in terms of strength was probably Lin Yuan. The all-powerful figure from tens of thousands of years ago was indeed worthy of his reputation. Even so, Xiao Chun still had no intention of backing down. Xin Yuan Ling and Long Qing had not been found yet, so naturally, Xiao Chun could not leave. "It's interesting that you could take a punch from me." The great sage of the ancients chuckled when he saw Xiao Chun take his punch. There was a look of surprise in his eyes. He thought that his punch would at least seriously injure Xiao Chun, but now it seemed that the little guy's strength was stronger than he thought. Without waiting for Xiao Chen's reply, the great sage of the ancients continued, "But how many punches can you take?" With that, the great sage of the ancients took a step forward and took the initiative to attack. His fists began to emit a strong golden light. In a flash, he appeared in front of Xiao Chun and threw out a punch. The speed of the punch was very fast. At least until now, Xiao Chun had not seen anyone whose punches could be compared with the great sage of the ancients. Please add it to your collection. Monthly vote recommended. After personally experiencing the gap between himself and a veteran ancestor-level expert like the great sage of the ancients, Xiao Chen's smugness had long dissipated. At the same time, he constantly reminded himself that he must not underestimate any ancestor-level expert, because no ancestor-level expert could be underestimated. The great sage of the ancients, who was trapped by the array formation, did not panic in the slightest. Instead, he looked at Li Tian with interest and said, "Ancestor-level array formation master. Not bad. You're much stronger than this little guy. How about it? Are you interested in joining forces with me?" Great Sage Huanggu was interested in Li Tian and took the initiative to rope him in. After all, an ancestor-level array master was indeed rare. In response, Li Tian smiled and said, "What's in it for me?" It was definitely impossible for Li Tian to join forces with the great sage of the ancients. He said this just to get information from the great sage of the ancients. Hearing this, the great sage of the ancients said without hiding anything, "I have a way to break through to the ancestor level without using the origin energy. How about it? Join forces with me. You and I can break through to the ancestor level together and become the lord of the world." The great sage of the ancients obviously did not know that the current great world was no longer the era of his era. It was now the era of the Cloud Palace. The great sage of the ancients said that he wanted to become the lord of the world, which undoubtedly touched the bottom line of the Cloud Palace. What a joke! Would the Cloud Palace allow a second lord of the world to appear in the great world? Love to read books? Have a way to break through to the ancestor level without using the origin energy and become the lord of the world. Hearing the great sage of the ancients' words, Li Tian's eyes flashed with coldness and the corners of his mouth turned cold. At the same time, without the great sage of the ancients noticing, Li Tian secretly contacted Lin Yun with the voice transmission talisman and told him about the situation here. Although his array formation had trapped the great sage of the ancients and Li Tian and Xiao Chun had joined forces, judging from the battle just now, Li Tian did not think that he and Xiao Chun could defeat the great sage of the ancients. Therefore, he chose to contact Lin Yun immediately. Seeing that Li Tian did not speak, the great sage of the ancients continued to smile and said, "How about it? Oh, so anxious? Can't you give me some time to think about it?" Li Tian said with a smile. Obviously, he was deliberately stalling for time. In response, the great sage of the ancients directly exposed Li Tian's thoughts. The smile on his face disappeared, and he said coldly, "I don't know which force you belong to, and I don't know the current situation of the great world. However, if you want to stall for time, you're too naive.